Welcome, everyone, to TJ and the Grumpy Old Man, the sports podcast where you shoot the shit, we talk about some sports, Grumpy Old Man. I'm your host, TJ.
It's talking sports and shooting the shit. I don't know why you can't get that. It's a sports podcast, all right?
Oh, man. As you've already met our very cantankerous co-host, the Grumpy Old Man. They say there is no shame in his game because he's always the same.
That's me.
Oh, Grumpy. How are you today, my friend?
Fine, thank you.
Oh, man. What are you wearing there?
Tampa Bay Buccaneers Super Bowl 55 champion shirt.
Oh, look at you, the bandwagoneer leading it on the Oregon Trail. Look at you, Grumpy.
I don't know why you say that.
Oh, man. I'm just giving you a hard time. A lot of developing stories across the NHL, the NFL, across the world of soccer, and the NBA. Grumpy, we're in store for a treat here today. But before we get started and too deep into our podcast, remember, this is a podcast we do every single Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and every single Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And the best way to make sure you don't miss out on any of the action is by subscribing on YouTube, liking on Facebook, and following on Twitter.
Yeah. What time is it right now that we're starting the show?
Grumpy, we're a few minutes late.
Yeah, it's 8:30. All right. You never start on time. You're going to be late to your own funeral.
Is that what it is? I'm going to be late to my own funeral.
Yep.
Goodness gracious. Well, I do want to go ahead and bring this up, Grump. A freaking phenomenal day for Jamar Chase today. Over 200 yards receiving. Fantastic. When you have 2 touchdowns, he's been outstanding. You've seen, and we were critical last week again about people comparing Jamar Chase to Deshaun Jackson and all these other individuals again, in their prime. And I was just like, oh man, again, he's 6 games in at the time period. Might be a little early to be comparing him to some, really, really fantastic wide receivers during their prime already as a rookie. Grump, I want to know, are you buying into the Jamar Chase hype?
I think he's really good. He's got good chemistry with Joe Burrow. But I'm going to say pump the brakes before we call him a Hall of Famer, right? I mean, 6 weeks ago, Patrick Mahomes, according to everyone who you could talk to, is the greatest quarterback who ever lived. And what you're finding out, that's Tom Brady. Always has been Tom Brady, always will. Why? Because now that they're paying Patrick Mahomes $40 million a year, they can't give him all the auxiliary pieces that he had previously. And guys age out. You're not going to have that talent. And now here's the thing. I'm not saying Patrick Mahomes is a bum, but I'm just saying, whenever you've seen him the last couple of years, he had an incredible amount of time, and his guys were wide open all over the field. You're not seeing that now. You're seeing a lot of contested catches, a lot of deflected balls, a lot of interceptions. So it is what it is.
Well, we'll talk about the struggles of Pat Mahomes for certain. Now, I wanted to show you this highlight from today, Grumpy Old Man. My goodness gracious. And again, you talk about the chemistry that Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase have. It's fantastic. I mean, now the Cincinnati Bengals are 6-1. We're going to talk about if they are contenders or pretenders this early on in the season. But remember, when Joe Burrow had that season at LSU, him and Jamar Chase lit the world on fire. That's why and as bad as their offensive line is, that's why they said, hey, we're going to go ahead and forego protecting Joe Burrow. We're going to say if we can bring in a piece like Jamar Chase, he's got the ability to really be a difference maker, and he's got that chemistry with Joe Burrow. I mean, this play today was outstanding, Grumpy. Look at this. I mean, he avoids 3 would-be tacklers. He turns on the Jets, and I mean, he's gone. They don't have a chance.
Okay, he's being chased by a linebacker, and there were 3 missed tackles. Okay, they missed the tackles.
Okay, he evaded them. He evaded those tackles. It wasn't like they just whiffed on it. It's not like he just said, hey, speed. He evaded those tacklers.
I'm saying they missed tackles. The first guy's got to make the tackle. First guy needs to make the tackle. He missed him. He just flat out missed him.
Do you ever think it's because he's so quick?
No, I think he just missed the tackle. He just missed the tackle. And I'm not denying that the kid doesn't have talent, but let's not say it's the guy missed the tackle. He didn't run through it. He didn't evade it. The guy missed the tackle. He hit him and he missed him. I mean, here it is right here. Whoop, 32. That's 32, and he knocks out 44. You want to take his own guy out. I mean, and it happens. It happens. I'm just saying pump the brakes a little bit, okay? Kid had a great day today. No denying he's talented, has tremendous chemistry with Joe Burrow. Pump the brakes a little bit.
So let me ask you this. I mean, you have to figure he's one of the front runners to win, rookie, to win, rookie of the year, correct?
Well, I don't know. We still have 9 more games to play. So, I mean, there's a long way to go.
Well, 10. Well, not 10, at
Okay,
least
that's
10
right.
more
I'm
games.
sorry, 10. Yes, that's
Yeah,
right.
the extra game added this year. I'm just saying, I mean, he's had an outstanding rookie campaign so far. I'm not saying he's going to be, he's goated, he's going to make the Hall of Fame. I'm not saying anything like that. I'm just saying that he's off to a fantastic start. And this is a guy where you talk about it going into the year. There were questions of, hey, he was dropping a lot of passes in preseason. Oh, I like where I can see the white stripes on it. Makes it easier for me to catch. I'm struggling seeing the passes and everything like that. Everybody had a lot of question marks around him. And again, I think he's definitely done a lot to silence any type of people questioning his game.
Yeah, I'm not questioning his game. All I'm saying is, I mean, the kid's been really good. No denying it. And he's got that game-breaking ability. But, you know, let's see. I mean, it's only the 3rd game all year that he's had over 100 yards in receiving. I mean, he's a good player. No denying it. But, is he rookie of the year? I don't know. It's way too early yet. Like I said, I'm always one of those guys. I tend to wait towards the end of the year before I start saying who's going to win what.
Yeah, well, again, 7 games into the season, 745 receiving yards, 6 touchdowns. Definitely making a strong case for it, I would say.
Yeah,
But hey,
he's a front runner. He's a front runner.
Let me ask you this too: are the Cincinnati Bengals contenders? Hey, they beat the brakes off of the Baltimore Ravens. That's unfortunate. The Ravens, I think, really you're seeing, when they do struggle, not having a consistent running back, not having the Gus Edwards to rely on, not having of pass, the Mark Ingrams when he was there and had a little bit of a resurgence of his career, not having that solid running game, I think is hurting the Ravens at times.
The Ravens' issue is that Lamar Jackson is not a very accurate thrower. Just not. So if you get them out of their game where they got to chase a little bit and he's got to throw, remember, he's been running the ball. He's like, I think, the 7th leading rusher in the league, but he's taking a lot of punishment. So now today they tried to keep him for the longest time, keep him in the pocket and not have him run. Baltimore tried to do that. And they had to go back to let him run wild again but that's not good for the kid. And it's not good for the Ravens either long term. I mean, it's either a bomb to Hollywood Brown. I know they incorporated Bateman a little bit today, but I don't think that Baltimore's that great either.
Really?
Am I saying, yeah, I don't think they're that great. Like I said, there's a long way to go yet.
So you don't think Baltimore is that good? And again, the Baltimore went ahead and beat the brakes off of the Chargers. I mean, Baltimore's played some solid teams, and they've played some really good football so far, Grumpy.
And the Chargers were what? 1 season removed from being 5-11. I mean, and like I said, I like all those teams. They're fun to watch, but you're seeing the young quarterbacks, they struggle from game to game. They just do. I mean, you need to play a little bit. They're not the Russell Wilsons, the Aaron Rodgers, the Tom Brady's, the guys who've been around for a while. You can see the consistency in their game. With a lot of these young quarterbacks in particular, you see great one week, not so good the next. Kyler Murray's the same thing. I mean, they still won today, but I mean, he disappeared for a half. It's just interesting to see, and it's fun. To be honest with you, it's fun because you never know what's going to happen from week.
Houston's pass defense is one of the best pass defenses in the NFL. Whether that's just because, hey, they don't get tested very often because they're always losing by a large margin, so teams can just go ahead and run the football. They're pretty good. They're pretty good pass defense. So it doesn't really shock me per se. Now, I want to show you this, Grumpy, speaking about, because we're on that topic, because we do want to cover also Deshaun Watson, the rumors of where he'll be headed. Looks like it's a surefire thing. He will be traded before the trade deadline on November the 2nd, which is not this Tuesday. It's next Tuesday. But I want to show you this, Grumpy, old man. I feel like, as I've told you, with these roughing the passer penalties, it's another roughing the passer penalty on Kyler Murray. I think for certain the league has golden children, where they say, we don't want this guy to get hit because he's too valuable to us. I thought they were always like that with Brady, and I think they're like that with Kyler Murray. Remember when he got tapped from behind by the Cincinnati or the Cleveland Browns last week? They called and they threw a flag for roughing the passer. I want to let you watch this roughing the passer penalty, Grumpy old man. It's kind of questionable at best.
Just talked about the size. And Malik Collins, it's not helmet to helmet, but they're going to get him for, his just talked about the size.
How are you supposed to tackle a quarterback?
He's ducking.
That's about to say, right? He hits him up high. He's ducking. He's trying to duck underneath the tackle. How the hell is this a roughing the passer penalty? And again, it wasn't going to change the outcome of the game. I'm just saying some of these quarterbacks get a lot of these very questionable calls in their favor. That's all I'm going to say with that, Grumpy, because, I mean, this is a situation where, man, oh, man, what do you want the defender to do differently here?
Yeah, I mean, he's committed right there. The kid ducks, and he doesn't even clothesline him. He gets his arm around the back of his shoulder. It's a bad call. It's a bad call. But you know what it tells me? If you're going to hit him, man, you really hit him. You really hit him. That's what I would do.
Well, I was about to say, I mean, if they're going to be throwing all these flags for, roughing the passer anytime you hit certain quarterbacks, I mean, I guess earn your 15 yards. Just don't get a targeting penalty is all. Well, Grumpy, I want to talk to you about Deshaun Watson, right? It seems like two teams are the front runners. It seems like it's the Miami Dolphins, and after today, it's definitely the Carolina Panthers. The Panthers happen to bench Sam Darnold very early in the game. Or I guess about midway through the game after they struggled mightily against the New York Giants. So it seems like, again, the Panthers and the Dolphins are all in for Deshaun Watson.
Well, yeah, okay, the Dolphins, you wonder if Brian Flores is going to make it through the year before he's let go. I don't know how they lost today. They started off poorly against Atlanta, then came back to take the lead, and then wound up blowing it at the very end. And like I said, I think that Brian Flores is a good coach. I don't know what's going on down there, but I'm going to tell you one thing. They don't think that Tua Tagovailoa is the answer. That much I can guarantee you. If they're in talks for Deshaun Watson, they don't think that Tua is the guy. I mean, those are just facts. I watched a little bit of that game today, and he doesn't have zip on the ball. Anything that's an intermediate route, he has to put air under it. He just doesn't have a good arm. And Deshaun Watson is an infinitely better player than Tua Tagovailoa, in my opinion, anyway. And I think he could help that team, not this year, but going forward. Well, and the one thing about the Panthers, just to touch on the Panthers real quick, I find it kind of interesting and kind of hypocritical that an organization that the NFL forced their owner, Jerry Richardson, to sell over sexual harassment issues is now thinking about, and they, this is David Tepper, the new owner who's been there a couple of years now. We don't tolerate that stuff, blah, blah, blah. But he's hot as hell to bring in Deshaun Watson, who has 22 civil cases against him for sexual harassment. I just find that kind of hypocritical, don't you?
Well, yeah. So, I mean, again, the Jerry Richardson, just for those who aren't familiar, in 2017 was forced out, was the owner of the Carolina Panthers, and he had a few workplace misconducts that they had to settle. And again, these were all settled, and he paid them out for confidential payouts and items like that. So there was, sexual harassment, and again, a racial slur that was used. No idea what it was. Again, I don't think it ever was really shed too much light on. Again, it was a long time ago that this story came out. So, my memory is a little hazy, like 5 some odd years ago. But I do remember a lot of it was due to the sexual harassment that certain individuals, I believe female employees, faced. That being said, I do find it quite odd. And again, these are all right now civil cases. He hasn't been charged with anything yet, I don't believe. So, still technically right, innocent until proven guilty. But for, Dave Tepper, the guy who says we don't condone anything like that, for him to be taking such a strong stance of we need to bring in Deshaun Watson, who currently has possibly 22 cases that, there may be some validity behind him, inappropriately sexually harassing individuals and females. It is quite odd. It's like they don't really care so much about those type of items if, you're a super talented player and could bring the team victories and more money.
And here's the thing. Couldn't you just see the NFL, if he gets traded, all of a sudden them coming down like a ton of bricks on top of Deshaun Watson when they realize that he might play?
I actually have a clip that I want to show you from Schefter. So he kind of explains that situation really well in depth, talking about it. So I'm going to show you that clip here in a second. Got a few comments here. Alexander saying, "Good evening, guys. Tough day today. I felt like I was being punched in the gut today. Tua had a good day today, 4 touchdowns. He's not the problem, and Watson will not fix the Dolphins."
The biggest problem, Alexander, is that
Overrated.
the biggest problem is he's not the answer either. Might not have been the problem today, but he's not the answer to being a winning team.
Yeah. Alexander also saying, yeah, weak and pathetic call regarding roughing the passer. And Alexander also saying, Grumpy Flores is not a good coach. The defense goes from good to bad. Their best players are not playing well, and Flores is the problem. He's not getting hammered here.
He is getting hammered there.
He's getting hammered here. Sorry.
Yeah, I just remember watching him for years in New England, and I think he's a stand-up guy, and he had them turned around a little bit last year. You know, remember, I think they started 0-5 his first year there and were really, really bad. He jettisoned a bunch of, non-team guys, brought in his own type of players, and it looked like they were riding the ship last year. The biggest issue is they got the wrong quarterback. I mean, and that's just a problem. I think this team would be much better if they had Justin Herbert, if they had drafted him. I just think that things just going from bad to worse over there.
And also,
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know if he survives after the season.
I was about to say, it's make or break time for him, right? I said that to Grump earlier on today before the podcast. If Flores doesn't go ahead and start turning things around, if they don't start winning some games, he's going to be without a job. He's going to be fired. And Alexander also said, let's make it clear, Stephen Ross, the owner of the Dolphins, that's who wants Watson.
Well, you know what? Watson's a better player than Tua. I mean, that he's only, 25, 26? I mean, and he's locked up to a very manageable deal. I mean, here's the thing. If he didn't have the sexual harassment stuff hanging over his head, I mean, he's a top 5 quarterback in the league, and anyone would be giving up a king's ransom to get him. The only thing that's hurting him right now is the fact that he has those lawsuits hanging over his head. And I'm going to tell you again, it would not shock me at all to see the NFL come down, because what's the NFL really afraid of? Bad publicity. That's all they care about is bad pub. And I could see them, if he gets traded, all of a sudden, we're going to suspend him. I could see that happening.
So before I let you speak too much on that, because there is, I wanted to show you here this, Grumpy. Now, I don't think that is going to be the case. I'll let you listen to what Schefter has to say about it. And again, he believes he's under the perception that that would also not be the issue. So I'm going to let you listen to this clip here by Schefter.
That's Ian Rappaport.
I'm sorry, Ian Rappaport, Grumpy.
Could be traded before the November 2nd deadline. And based on everything I've heard, the hope, the belief, the expectation is something will happen involving a trade and Deshaun Watson before November 2nd. There's been plenty of false starts. There's been plenty of rumors around this. So take this for what it is. But the expectation is something will be completed by November 2nd. Here's where it stands. Multiple teams are still interested in trading for Deshaun Watson. I know there was a report earlier in the week about the Dolphins. They are not alone. Among the teams that have been discussed over the past several months, the Panthers, the Broncos, the Eagles, and some others. His legal situation is still, as of right now, unsettled. Still, of course, the civil and criminal allegations of sexual misconduct. I'm told there are still teams interested in trading for him, despite the fact that this is still unsettled. Watson also has a no-trade clause. The belief is he would waive it for Miami. Unclear as of now what he would do for the others. So, of course, we will keep you updated.
Yeah, I mean, murky and unclear. There's no question about all that. What about the commissioner's exempt list? Is he not on it now because the league office knows that the Texans have Deshaun on the Texans exempt list and Watson has himself on the Texans exempt list, that they know that that's just not going to be resolved, and thus there's no need to put him on the commissioner's exempt list? And why would a team acquire him not knowing the commissioner could actually do that upon a deal being consummated?
According to the personal conduct policy, the latest version, a player can be placed on the commissioner's exempt list if he is charged with a felony or a violent crime. As of right now, that does not seem to apply to Deshaun Watson. I have not heard that he is going to be placed on the commissioner's exempt list even if someone trades for him, even if his legal situation is unsettled, barring some sort of unexpected development, I would expect him to be eligible to play. He is also, for whatever it's worth, in shape. He's been doing nothing but working out and throwing the football.
So that's kind of what we got there. So Rappaport is saying there he would expect, and again, it broke it down, either a violent crime or a felony charge, none of which technically, I guess, are against right now Watson. So reason to believe that if he were to be traded, that he would be able to play immediately.
They did the same thing to Antonio Brown, who didn't have – they can do whatever they want. If there's a public outcry, they will put him on the suspended list. I'm going to tell you right now, because that's what they do. They can say whatever they want. They bow to whatever the public criticism is. They always have and always will. And that's why I'm saying, I just find it interesting that, he's still on their roster, okay? He hasn't been suspended, but I'm going to tell you, if they tried to play him, bam, they'd suspend him. I mean, there's a lot of things going on with him. I mean, I just, like I said, I just find the NFL being disingenuous as usual.
So you think if he's traded, hey, he's not going to be able to play. Is that the way you're feeling, Grumpy?
I think if they trade for him, then they'll say, oh, well, personal conduct policy, blah, 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 we're going to suspend you for a while. I wouldn't, if there was a public outcry from some group or some organization or whatever, you'll see him get suspended. They'll put him on the exempt list till this thing gets straightened out. So they come out looking like the hero. Yes, we believe in everyone's rights, blah, blah, blah. They don't care about anyone's rights.
Yeah. So I wouldn't be shocked, right? I don't put anything past the NFL. It's a very, very odd situation, because either way, right? I'd like to believe what I'm hearing from Rappaport, but again, the NFL, if there is pressure on them, will not allow Deshaun Watson to play. I would not be shocked by that at all. And you talk about a risk and a gamble for a team. They don't even know, right? These pending lawsuits, they don't even know what the results are going to be. It's a lot of risk. It shows you, though, right, how badly these teams want to succeed, and what they'll do. Doesn't matter what type of questionable, issues there may be that, an individual's facing. If you can play football, hey, you can play football. That's all they care about.
They did the same thing to Antonio Brown, the same thing. There were no felony charges against him, and they suspended him for 8 games when he came back to play last year. They were going to put – he came out – remember when he was let go by by Oakland. New England picks him up. He plays 1 game. All of a sudden, something comes out that maybe he threatened his masseuse. I don't know. You know what, fellas? Get guy masseuses. Okay, stop fooling around with the girl masseuses. And then all of a sudden, New England lets him go. Nothing happens. As soon as he comes back to play and signs with Tampa, what do? 8-game suspension because of the personal conduct policy. Because that's what they can do. He had no charges against him at that time. And it's like, okay, like I said, because the public outcry gets to be so much where they're just like, we're going to bow to the pressure. And that's what they do. Every time. Not sometimes, every time.
John B. saying, looks like my woeful Jets will get the number 1 overall pick this year.
And looks like Zach Wilson could have some type of knee injury. He did go out in the second quarter today. I thought it was kind of a cheap hit on him, to be honest with you. The New England player, I think it was Josh Usay, went mighty low at the knees. Now, he was a runner, but I thought he was excessive. Considering how they protect the quarterbacks, I was shocked that he didn't get a flag on that play. And the kid is obviously hurt. But maybe he could benefit from spending a little bit of time watching anyway.
Yeah, it's a shame too, right? Zach Wilson, again, nothing. He's no great shakes just quite yet. But I mean, anytime I see PCL, I immediately kind of go, oh God, I hope that's not. I mean, those are usually a pretty serious knee injury. I mean, PCL usually takes you a while to jump back from. And again, that's what you got right here. MRI on his knee. Sources say the initial belief is that he suffered an injury to his PCL, likely to miss time. But the test will determine how much. I mean, if you tear your PCL, he's out for the season.
As a Jets fan, boy, you have to be disappointed with today, don't you? I mean, exactly. You're coming off a bye. You're playing New England, who the only teams New England has beat this year is Houston and the Jets twice. And you have a week. You're coming off a bye. You have a week and a half to prepare for them, or 2 weeks. And that's the type of performance you put out there. You get, the Patriots come out with a couple of trick plays right off the bat. and you get fooled by them every single time. I'm like, what were you watching any film, Robert Saleh? I'm just kind of baffled by that. I guess it's just the Jets being the Jets. They wound up giving up 51 points, which really bothered me because I thought, okay, the Jets defense looks like they're playing pretty well. New England's not that great offensively. I'm going to pick up the Jets defense on my fantasy team, and they absolutely spit the bit and cost me a win today. Thank you, Jets.
Let me ask you this. Do you think Salah is off to – I mean, what do you think about his future?
He's not going anywhere. Jets don't fire guys immediately. They give him quite a bit of rope.
Fair enough. Alexander also saying, yes, Grump, I agree with Watson's potential, but I disagree with you on Tua. He's been really good quarterback. You need to build around him, give him a good offensive line and good receivers. This kid will be lighting it up. Now, here's the thing, right? I think Tua is limited. And now this, like when I see interceptions like I see this today, this is not an interception I'm expecting from a NFL caliber quarterback, to be quite frank. I mean, these are it's rough. I mean, like, this is what you'd expect out of a high school quarterback. You'd expect out of a bad college quarterback when he faces a little bit of pressure and he's mid getting sacked. He just throws the ball up for grabs. This is not what you expect out of good caliber quarterbacks here in the NFL, right? Facing pressure. Jesus Christ. I'm sorry.
He does that a lot too.
Interceptions like that, panic throws like that really hurt. And again, there's a lot of players on the Dolphins. I mean, Sanders missing that kick, that field goal earlier on in the game really came back to bite him in the ass too. So
okay. An interception like that is a crusher. You're still in field goal range. And you're going down, you just throw it up for grabs and it gets picked. And now you go and give him points away in the other end. It's like, I'm sorry. And that's not the first time he's done that. I mean, when are you going to learn? I don't know.
It would be a marketable upgrade to have Deshaun Watson again, assuming he's able to play over Tua. There's no doubt about that. He's going to cost. I wonder what the cost is going to be on Deshaun Watson, though. Again, if it's the Panthers we talked about, they don't have a lot of draft capital to give up. What would the Panthers have to give up in order to get Deshaun Watson, assuming he would waive his no trade clause in order to go there? Or do you think, hey, he's destined to go to Miami. He wants to go to Miami. He believes in what they're building down there.
I think if they offer 3 number ones, he's going. Whoever offers 3 number ones, that's where he's going. Really? I firmly believe that. If I was Miami, I would have been on him last offseason. You could have given him 2 number ones last year, still had one, and then another one in next year's draft.
So you think the price has increased for Deshaun Watson?
It's always been 3 number ones. That's what they've been asked for is 3 number ones, something else, and a player. But I think you can get away without players now, just offer picks.
Here's my question. Well, hold on. Number one, picks are more valuable than players are when you talk about, regarding trades. You see Pro Bowl caliber players get traded away for 4th and 5th round picks due to the contracts they have.
Yeah, but they wanted young building block players. You got to remember, Houston's a freaking dumpster fire, right? They need players. I mean, so if you can add a couple of building block pieces to your defensive line or your linebacking core or defensive backs, you take that, and then you take the 1st round picks. That's why they wanted that. You know what? Here's the thing. They need to maximize the value they can get for him. That kid, Deshaun Watson, is the franchise quarterback. I think everyone agrees with that. Top 5 quarterback in the league.
Yeah.
Those guys don't grow on trees. And right now, Miami doesn't have one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Neither does Carolina, neither does Philadelphia, neither does Oakland, neither does Denver. I mean, there's a lot of teams that don't have franchise quarterbacks. That kid is one.
Well, Carr, I mean, he is what he is. He's a serviceable guy. Alexander saying Herbert would be horrible here with this receiving core. I mean, Waddle, again, I'm not saying he would be lighting it up and putting up the numbers he has been for the Chargers. That being said, I think he would still be more successful than Tua. But again, these could all be moot points. Again, think about it, right? It's next Tuesday is the NFL trade deadline. Yep. And rumors are right now the Dolphins are in front. I know that with the Carolina Panthers having the issues they had, they're going to be making a strong push for Watson. That's for certain.
And the owner wants him. That David Tepper wants him big time.
Young Loose says Deshaun Watson will play this year. Watch if he's going to be playing this year if he's traded. He said you guys are going to feel crazy when he plays with all these civil suits. And then, yes, he was talking about Antonio Brown did have to charge the lady, the masseuse, who went ahead and defamed him, or I think it was spoke in a negative light of him.
Yeah, but it wasn't a felony. It wasn't a felony. I mean, that's my whole thing. And here's the thing. I just think the NFL is real fickle, and they wield total power. And if they get too much pressure from women's groups or uproars in the community, they'll bow to that pressure. They have in the past. They always do. And that's my concern. I mean, remember Ray Rice? I mean, they weren't going to do anything till the video come out. All of a sudden, there's an uproar. Bam, Ray Rice, you're done. They had the video. They didn't do anything. They always take the path of least resistance until they get confronted, and then they cave.
They ideally want to have the most, right? They want to have the talent out there in the field. They want to produce a good product, unless they do something heinous or terrible. And, I try to take the same exact approach of innocent until proven guilty. I will say this is a very, very odd case. I mean, you've got 22 of those civil suits against them. I feel like you don't see that all that often, but it's, there's no question about his talent. That is for certain. I mean, the guy is extremely talented, Deshaun Watson.
What has Deshaun Watson done? And here's the thing. Everything you hear about him, it's kind of like, how is this happening? Because I've never heard anything bad about Deshaun Watson. But what's the thing he's doing that's really smart? He's just laying low. He's just laying low, which is a smart thing to do. People have short memories. But believe me, if he goes to Carolina, I know for a fact there's going to be people who are going to be unhappy with that. That much I can tell you. That's where I live. I know.
Master Lego Yoda says Jets defense clearly decided to play Pee-wee football today.
Yeah, 51 freaking points. Thanks a lot, Jets. -10 in fantasy. That helped me out. Great job.
Man, oh man, I tell you. The freaking Jets.
Now I'm 3-4 in fantasy football. I got to make the playoffs in the money league. That's all that matters.
The big thing is you have to hope maybe it's just a PCL sprain, or maybe something along those lines. I mean, if you've got a tear in your PCL, Wilson's out the entire rest of the year.
Okay, I watched some of the young quarterbacks today, right? Justin Fields. It was terrible today. Wilson has been terrible for most of the year, and the kid's got talent. But the one thing and Chicago started Andy Dalton today, Justin Fields could have benefited from being sat down on the bench after the first half and let Andy Dalton come in, because the moment was just too big for him.
Well, I wouldn't even say it was too big. I mean, the offensive line was hideous. I mean, he was facing everything. It was not a good situation for him. He was getting sacked. How many fumbles, interceptions did he have? What did he have? 5 or 6 turnovers today?
He had a bad day today. But you know what? At some point in time, the head coach would say, "Hey, Justin, let's just." I mean, because the game was over in the first half. Over. Come sit down with me. Let's kind of take it back a notch and just kind of watch and see what Andy does a little bit, how he handles certain things. And then we'll go over with your tape and what you can do better. But watch from the sideline a little bit. I think that really could have benefited him, but they didn't do it. And the kid, there was one point where they were sitting and a coach was talking to him, and he just kind of looked in the other direction. He wasn't looking at the, whatever the little tablet that they have. I'm like, uh-oh. And then, he came back and started looking at it, but it's like, okay. He's kind of tuned out right now. I mean, as a coach, you see that, you need to go up to the head man and say, let's sit Justin down for a series or two and put Andy in, give him a chance to maybe recalibrate a little bit.
It's almost like, you remember when goalies really struggle and a goalie's getting shelled out there, right? They give up 4 or 5 goals. Jesus, when it looks bad like that, I know he's your guy, right? I know you want Justin Fields. He's the future. You don't want his confidence to go in the tank. Because, I mean, your team they're 3-4 after today's game. Your team is still competitive. You don't want him to just be getting absolutely destroyed out there on the field, and it ruins his confidence. Like, man, oh man, five turnovers. He doesn't feel like he can get any type of offensive movement going. It's not good for the quarterback. It's not good for the team either.
Yeah, it's not. And you see it, like I said, and that's what, how does it affect the team, right? When you see a young guy in there, he's just turning the ball over at will. Or I don't know what you're showing here, but I mean, it's not good.
Wilson hit when you're done.
Okay, but it's not good for the team. If they don't think they have a chance to win, If you have a young guy in there and he can't complete a pass, he's just totally erratic. He keeps on making bad decisions, and it's just not good for morale. I mean, and Chicago's not a bad overall team, but they're going to be better in the long run with Justin Fields, but it doesn't help this year's team.
No, for certain it does not. So, like, I didn't think. I mean, he hit him a little late, but here's the thing: I didn't think it was as dirty of a hit. That's
not the one. That's not the one.
This is the one that hurt his knee.
Yeah, he got hit earlier.
I know the one you're talking about. I'll pull that one too. This is the hit that hurt his knee, though, Grumpy. I mean, let's talk about this, right? You've got Judon, a fantastic pass rusher, matched up on a freaking tight end. I mean, that's a recipe for freaking disaster to begin with there. You should know that. And again, like, this is one where I didn't think it was a vicious or malicious hit. Just kind of didn't see it coming. And
it's late. It's late, though. By letter of the law, that's a late hit. By the letter of the law, that's a late hit. That ball was gone, and he grabbed him. That ball's gone. And he continued, and he took another step and hit him. That's a penalty. By the letter of the law that the NFL has laid out, that is a penalty.
If you're Kyler Murray, if you're certain quarterbacks, for certain that's a penalty. Not Zach Wilson yet, though. That's what I mean. That's why I think a lot of those, roughing the passer penalties all depends on who the quarterback is. They want to protect certain quarterbacks at all means.
True. They want to protect all quarterbacks because that's the lifeblood of the NFL. It just is.
For certain it is, grumpy old man.
I don't know if you had that other clip where he took
I don't have it yet. I'll have to pull it.
Okay. Because to me, that was the shot that, he hurt his knee on that play, but he could have been hurt before because I looked at the way his leg was kind of bent. I'm like, that didn't look good. I thought maybe that was the hit that kind of did him in the start. But, it is what it is at this point in time. The Jets got a long way to go. Again, still. Just stay the course. I don't know who their GM is now, though.
Well, I'll try to get that pulled up later, Grump. I won't be able to find it now as I'm scouring on it. Gotcha, Grump. Match Relegate just said, I couldn't watch the game, but I looked at the final, and I was like, oh, there must have been an error because there's no way the Patriots scored 54 points. But nope, they did.
Yeah, I was surprised. And, Josh McDaniel, here's the thing. I watched the Patriots for a lot of years when Tom Brady was there. You can always tell when the coaching staff thinks they're in trouble or they're worried when they start whipping out the trick plays. Always. That's Josh McDaniel's history. Whenever I see a trick play from them, especially during the Brady years, I'm like, they think they're in trouble. And that was like on the first drive. They're running trick plays, wide receiver pass. Not to their usual wide receiver who does the wide receiver pass, a different one. So, kudos to them for pulling that off. But I think they thought that this was a big game. This is a game they had to make a statement against the Jets, particularly after losing how they lost to Dallas the week before. So I don't know if this gets them on the straight and narrow. I think they have San Diego next. That's going to be a tough battle, but San Diego has to travel east, and we know how that worked out last week.
Los Angeles Chargers.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I always call them San Diego. The Chargers. Yeah.
The Chargers is right.
Yeah.
Alexander.
Teams historically struggle when they're West Coast teams traveling east for a 1:00 game.
That they certainly do. Alexander also saying, remember, he also has that no trade clause at this time. He's only going to waive it for Miami. I've heard again, like I think he could waive it for Carolina. The reason being, went to Clemson. He's very familiar with that area. He would be loved and adored by, again, I'm not sure how much he cares about those type of items, but I know there's a large Clemson fan base there in North Carolina, in Charlotte. So, I mean, even with the checkered issues, I still think he would be loved and adored. And maybe that's where he wants to go. I want to go to a place where I feel like I'm going to be, accepted in, even after those, allegations that have come towards me.
Yeah. He said he would waive it for Miami. We don't know if he waived it for anybody else, but we know he's extremely unhappy in Houston and won't play there. So, and would you want to play for Houston right now? I mean, I think their coach is a clown, David Culley. I don't know how he even got the job, honestly. But if you really want to go somewhere, I mean, he said, also heard that he'd waive it to go to Denver of all teams. So, I mean, it seems like he's willing to go pretty much anywhere. And this is the shot.
I've got Gus Grumpy. I can say this, Grumpy. I got it. I don't need you doing all the talking here. But this is the more than questionable hit right here. See, now that hit right there by Guy. Holy shit. I mean, you talk about him wrapping up there at the end. Ooh.
See, I thought he got hurt on the previous play.
This one right here for certain, yikes. I'll tell you. They wrap him up. They get him by the ankle. I mean, it's a little bit of a late hit. You know, ooh.
And he's throwing the ball, too. It's like, he is out of the pocket, though. But that's the one I thought that, maybe he went out on the next play. But that's the one I think really hurt him. That adrenaline is still pumping. So
here's the other portion, right? He throws this ball away. Zach Wilson, I promise you're going to be learning to throw the ball away quicker in the future. Again, I wouldn't say this is necessarily dirty. Ball's still in his hand when he's going into the tackling motion. He definitely tackles him low, right? That's why you're not supposed to be tackling low, but technically you're out of the pocket, so you're a runner. That being said, it's one of those things you're going to learn, get rid of the ball. I mean, especially if nothing's there, protect your body, get rid of the ball so you don't have to sustain any type of hits like that.
Yeah, he should have got rid of that ball 3 steps earlier. You're well outside the pocket. There's just right here. Get rid of it right here. Just get rid of it. Just get rid of it.
Well, that's sometimes a lot of things that young quarterbacks want to do. They want to try to go ahead and extend the play and make something fantastic happen. I just hope and pray that's nothing torn there with the PCL, is nothing too serious with it, right? They say, hey, PCL is definitely looking for. There are also maybe other ligaments that are torn down there. So I'll be very interested. Remember, Joe Burrow had the ACL, MCL, and PCL tear. That last season. Again, long road to recovery for him. So we're hoping it's nothing to do with the PCL, because I feel like that's going to be one of those longer recovery time periods.
Weren't you the same guy who said that Joe Burrow wasn't that good? Didn't you say that on the last podcast? And I'd pick up for Joe Burrow.
Okay, here's the thing, right? Well, I'll look at that. When I look at Jamar Chase, when he's wheeling off these huge catches, if you throw a little 5-yard slant and your wide receiver takes an additional 75 yards and makes 3 guys miss for a touchdown, I'm not giving the quarterback, hey, that's a fantastic throw. Excellent job, Joe Burrow. That's a great job by Jamar Chase.
Joe Burrow did it great. He was great today.
He was good. He was good. All I'm saying is I was expecting performances like this, what we saw today, more often. He's got a fantastic cast and crew. Fantastic, as we talked about. Uzama has been terrific. Look at all the yak yards he's been getting on those touchdowns he had today. Uzama did a lot there with the ball in his hands, a lot of yards after the catch. Same thing with Jamar Chase. They've got T. Higgins, again, who's an outstanding wide receiver, and Tyler Boyd. I was expecting a lot more of that, what we saw today, on a consistent basis. We haven't seen it much until today.
Well, he's hitting those guys in stride so they can get those yards after catch. You realize he hasn't even played an actual full season of NFL games yet, right?
He's also 25, so he's a rookie.
I don't care that I don't care.
Okay,
he's good. He's got the arm. I know you like to poo-poo on young quarterbacks.
I'm sorry, he's 24. I don't poo-poo on young quarterbacks.
You do. Baker Mayfield, you poo-poo on him all the time.
How has Baker Mayfield looked this season? How has he looked this year? Going to be awful.
He's hurt.
He's had the banged up non-throwing arm, but before that, I mean, I don't know how he'd be, healthy and fully recovered, but he hasn't looked great this year. I've never been ultra impressed with Baker Mayfield. I know you like him. I just don't think he's one of those quarterbacks. You talk about a franchise caliber quarterback. Baker Mayfield's not one of those. Maybe he's a game manager. Mayfield's not a franchise caliber quarterback.
I didn't say. I just think that you give him an awful lot of flack.
Yeah,
I just think you do. I'm not saying he's a franchise guy. And I don't think he's going to be worth, if they have to pay him $30 or $40 million a year. But that's the boat you're in, right? They're winning. They haven't won. Cleveland hasn't ever won in how many years, right? 30 years. They've been losers. And it's like, okay, under this kid, at least they're winning games. They're, competing for division titles. And they're really decimated with injuries right now. And he missed last week's game, and they won. I'm good for Cleveland. They're a loser franchise. I root for losers. I liked it.
It makes the victory that much sweeter. The taste of victory that much sweeter. Here's the thing. This is my opinion on Baker Mayfield. I think there's quarterbacks worse than him. I think there's quarterbacks better than him. He's an average, mediocre quarterback for the.
Oh my God! Here we go. He's average and mediocre now.
What do you put him at? I put him at 14th, maybe 15th. I put him right in the middle of the pack.
Okay.
Do you put him top 5, top 10? I don't. If you're out of the top 10, you're average.
Oh, wow. Okay. If you're out of the top 10, you're average. Okay.
You can argue number 11 to 15. I mean, Are you going to disagree with me, Grump?
I think he's better than Kirk Cousins.
I don't think much of Kirk Cousins.
Okay. So who are your top 10? I mean, you're saying outside the top 10.
Yeah, you ready for top 10? I put Dak Prescott in the top 10. I put Tom Brady in the top 10. I put Aaron Rodgers in the top 10. I put Patrick Mahomes, even though he's had struggles this year. I put him in the top 10. When healthy, I put Russell Wilson in the top 10. I put
There you go. There you go.
Kyler Murray in the top 10. Hold on. What do you mean there you go? You're asking me to list off just off the top of my head.
Josh Allen.
Yeah, I think I mentioned Josh Allen.
No, you didn't mention him.
Okay. I put Herbert over Baker Mayfield.
You realize you were trumpeting
I would put Matthew Stafford this season over Baker Mayfield.
Okay, I agree with that for this year, but he's kind of resorting back to who he has been also a little bit. But you mentioned how much you thought Sam Darnold could be really good if he left the Jets, and that's not been the case. I'm just saying
it was a big year for him. I said it was a big year for two quarterbacks. What two quarterbacks was a big year for? Sam Darnold and Daniel Jones. Guess what? We've learned for both of these two quarterbacks, they are not NFL caliber quarterbacks. They are bottom tier. They're below average. No, I was not. Don't even start.
You were trumpeting Sam Darnold early in the year. You absolutely were. You absolutely were. Yes, you were. And here's the thing. To me, Baker Mayfield is better than Sam Darnold. I don't even think it's even close.
Baker Mayfield's a million times better than Sam Darnold.
All right, at least we finally got to the
Sam Darnold's a backup quarterback at best. He had a success. I was telling everybody to pump the brakes at the beginning of the year. I said Sam Darnold's playing well, but pump the brakes. Look who they've played. It's I think verbatim what I said.
No.
3 games into the season, everybody's like, "Oh, he's great. He's that. He's this." I said, "Let's pump the brakes a little bit."
You were trumpeting it. You were the leader of the band early in the season. The leader of the band, the Sam Darnold band. I remember. I'm like, okay, whatever. I wasn't going to die on that hill. Whatever. But I knew it would come back to be wrong.
Grumpy, I'm usually the guy who has to say, let's halt a little bit, Grumpy. Let's take everything with a grain of salt. Grumpy, you're the guy who usually after they play 1 or 2 games, you say he's going to the Hall of Fame. That's you, Grumpy.
Yeah, that's a TJ-ism right there. That's TJ in a freaking nutshell. That is you in a nutshell. I'm always, let's give it a little bit of time, pump the brakes. I'm always pump the brakes when people say how great somebody is. You have to do it over a long period of time before I'm going to say you're great.
Alexander said, it's like you're in a committed relationship and then you have a super hot girl that wants you. That's exactly what's going on between the Dolphins and Watson.
Yeah, but you see how ugly the owner is. He should go for the hot chick if she's going for him, I guess.
No, we're talking about Tua.
I know that. It's a joke.
It was a bad one. Missed, Grumpy. Why is Tua always spot shadowed by the media, yet Wilson, Jones, and all the young quarterbacks don't get criticized like Tua does? Here's the thing. I thought Fields looked really bad today. It's the first time I've seen him look really, really, really hideous. So maybe again, like if you see more performances like that, besides, against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, you're starting to look less and less impressive in my eyes. So
here's the difference. And I'm not saying Jones, because I don't think Jones can do some things that Tua can't do, but I don't think Jones is that good. But Wilson can make plays that Tua can't make with his ability to improvise. He's really good at that. That said, the Jets are a way worse overall team than the Dolphins. I mean, I think that's why you see the Dolphins got rid of Ryan Fitzpatrick at the end of last year. They let him go. They were winning with Fitzpatrick. And then Tua came in. They were not as good a team. They didn't perform as well. I know they still won games, but I think it was smart for them to play him because you needed to find out if he was the man or not. I didn't think he was. They felt that he was, so they didn't go for another another quarterback in the offseason, which I would have done because I wasn't convinced on him. Go ahead, TJ.
Looking at it too, I mean, there's a lot of teams that have similar issues, right? The Carolina Panthers came in thinking that, hey, Sam Darnold could be our option. They passed up on Fields. They were sitting there at number 7. They passed up on Mac Jones. They had quarterbacks that were there and available for them to take that they could have maybe molded into something they're looking for. And now, because they pissed away that pick and didn't go ahead and select a quarterback, now they're going to have to be giving up extreme amounts of draft capital to get a quarterback that could be franchise caliber-esque. Because they're not going to be, let's be honest, they're going to squeak out a few more wins. I don't think, the Carolina Panthers could be drafted in the top 5 this season.
I'll be in the top 10. That much I can tell you. But here's the thing. If you can go out and get Deshaun Watson, you have a franchise quarterback. It's the most valuable thing in football. The most valuable thing, franchise quarterback. There's only a few of them.
Yeah, no, it for certain is, grumpy old man. Also comment here, John P. said, maybe this injury to Zach is a blessing in disguise. Take some weeks on the IR or longer if the injury warrants it, and just observe and learn.
Yes, that's exactly. I think I commented on that earlier. I think
He also said general manager is Joe Douglas.
Joe Douglas. Well, maybe they need a new GM.
Master Lego Yoda says San Diego, Grump.
Yeah, San Diego Chargers. I still call them the San Diego Chargers. I still call Washington the Redskins. It's going to take a long time for me to get that out of my mind. You got to remember, I'm old school. I remember San Diego, going back in the 1960s. So that's a long time.
Alexander say, Teach, you look a little frustrated. Everything okay today? Yeah, everything's good. No, I'm good. I'm dealing with grumpy. Alexander said Joe Burrow is a franchise. Mayfield is overrated. I think Joe Burrow can be franchise-esque. I really thought he was going to take a huge step forward, a huge leap forward. I really did. Again, he is starting to show that, but I'm not going to give a quarterback credit for throwing a 5-yard slant and your wide receiver running 82 yards downfield for a touchdown.
Did you watch the rest of that game?
I watched the game. Yeah, I watched the game, Grumpy.
His ability to I thought his ability to handle the pressure today was outstanding. His checkdowns were good. I mean, he was hitting those guys in stride. You say, all yards after the catch. Yeah, but he threw a rocket to a guy who was sprinting down the field. It was a beautiful pass. I mean, you mentioned the one pass, which was a slant. Well, guess what? If he doesn't hit him exactly in stride, he gets tackled after that 5 yards or he gets picked off. That was in between 3 guys. The kid can play.
I'm hoping NFL caliber quarterbacks can hit a wide receiver in stride with zip on the ball on a 5-yard slant. That's all.
Everybody's Tom Brady. Not everybody's Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. They're not all. That's not who they all are. But here's the thing. I just want to touch on one thing. I think that Mayfield also gets a lot of crap because he's doing a lot of those commercials where he lives in the stadium. I guess that's his girlfriend or wife. I have no idea. And I think there could be a backlash with that when you see, okay, his talent is not commensurate with him getting all those commercial deals.
That's it. But then also look at it like this. He's got a shit ton of weapons on his team. I'm willing to write off the first half of the season. He's got 2 fantastic running backs when healthy in Chubb and Kareem Hunt. He's got wide receiver core that's fantastic when healthy, Odell Beckham Jr., as well as Jarvis Landry. He's got tight ends. He's got the tight end and Hooper, and he's got a damn good offensive line. He's got a lot of weapons around him. Again, I'm willing to say I'm writing off the first half of the season. He's injured, banged up. I hope he gets healthy against his non-throwing arm, but I've just never been overly impressed by him. That's all.
Okay. How is that? What is the Cleveland system? They're run the ball, run the ball, sprinkle in some passes. Yes, they do have weapons on the outside, but it's predicated on Chubb running ball and Kareem Hunt getting the ball, either running or with screen passes. That's what their offense is. That's why when they get behind, they struggle because their offense is not predicated on throw the ball down the field. It's all grind it out, cold weather teams and short dump offs. That's what their offense is.
To play devil's advocate, when you've got an outstanding running game, they've got to stack more guys in a box, which means that those wide receivers are going to be more often than not in single coverage. So if they're able to create a little separation, you can get big explosive plays from it. So you want to play devil's advocate. When you have a fantastic offense, I don't care what style you have. Think about Ryan Tannehill last year, right? Run. Guy threw for 40 touchdowns last year because Derrick Henry's such a fantastic back.
He did not throw for 40 touchdowns. He absolutely did not throw 40 touchdowns last year. You can look that up. He did not throw for 40 touchdowns. But here's the thing. That's on the offensive coordinator. Baker Mayfield isn't changing the plays at the line.
33 touchdowns.
Okay, so that's not 40. Not even freaking close to 40.
He threw for 33 touchdowns last year.
Okay, and how many did Baker Mayfield throw for?
Last season, I can promise you less than 33. I can pull that.
It was probably less than 33. Yes, it was. I'm going to guarantee it was. But, I mean, he also didn't have Derrick Henry in the backfield.
20.
Derrick Henry, how many?
26.
26. So he's only 7 off. Just as close as him being from 33 to 40.
So he's 7 off. Here's the thing. They might not have Derrick Henry, but I can promise you the backup back for Kareem Hunt is a million times better than Nichols is for the Tennessee Titans. Okay. So, I look at that as a wash. They both have outstanding running backs. I would put Derrick Henry individually probably better, depth at running back much better for the Browns.
Okay. Against Denver this week, Baker Mayfield out, Nick Chubb out, Kareem Hunt out, and who has a great game? The third string running back, Dearness Johnson, right? Why? Because that's what their team is built on. It's a run blocking team. It's not a pass blocking team. It's a run blocking team. When they're forced to throw the ball down the field, I just think they're just not imaginative or creative. They're real easy to cover. And that's on the offensive coordinator. They need to draw up some other plays to scheme open their wide receivers as good as they are. It seems like everything's a freaking fly pattern. I mean, I don't believe in their system. Not today's NFL.
Alexander saying Daniel Jones had a good game today and grumpy after Allen's second touchdown or second year. I said Josh Allen was overrated and had no accuracy.
What, TJ? What did I always say? And TJ's known me a long time. What did I always say about Josh Allen, even the first couple of years?
You said he could throw the ball 1,000,000 yards, and you thought he had the potential to be special.
That's right. That's exactly right. He come from Wyoming, right?
Came from Wyoming, yeah.
Yeah. So, but you could just tell that kid could do it. You could just tell. Yeah, he made some bad decisions and he was a little bit over aggressive running the ball and stuff like that, but the kid's got an absolute cannon and he's built for Buffalo. He's like Jim Kelly. He's a blue collar quarterback, and I just thought he was going to be a success years ago. Even when he was playing shitty, I said, ride it out with this guy. He's going to make it. Daniel Jones, I never felt that way with him. I think Daniel Jones is a good athlete, just don't think he's a good quarterback.
Gotcha. Alexander also saying, did you guys see Mike Evans did today with the ball that Brady threw his 600 touchdown to? Yeah, we'll pull that up on screen. Thanks for sending it to us, Alexander. But yes, I did see that, and it's funny. We were talking about that. I called up Grumpy, and I said, what would your price be if you received the 600 touchdown pass, first ever quarterback to reach that milestone? What would your price be if Mike Evans gave you that ball? What would your price be in order to give that back? I mean, that is a very, very valuable football, you'd think, right?
Very valuable. And I do want to comment on something else I've noticed on Fox the last few weeks also, and you can see it in this video here. First of all, I don't think that guy could have certainly bargained for more. Like when I think it was Jeter hit a home run or had his 3,000th hit or something. I think it was a home run, whatever it was. I mean, that guy really cashed in on that home run ball. But New Yorkers are a little bit different than people from Florida, I guess. I think, whatever they gave him certainly wasn't commensurate to the value of that ball for Tom Brady. That's for certain.
So I don't know. I have to assume they did something afterwards, right? Oh, we'll give you a new game ball and we'll give you a signed jersey. Here's the thing. If I'm in that situation, I'm like, yeah, man, I want that ball. Here's what you're going to do. I'm going to get Tom Brady's game-used jersey that he threw the 600th ball to today. He can get the ball. That's fine. I want that signed, and I want some other type of gear of his signed. Man, you're right. Cash in on that. Tom Brady's going to want that ball. Hey, man, that's your ball. What are they going to do? Go ahead and mug you as you leave the stadium? Make sure you have a few friends, hopefully, with you. But, man, cashing in is 100% right. Make sure you get what you can really get. Because what does it take Tom Brady? What is he going to frame his jersey? He frames every jersey he has? No, he doesn't. Do you think he frames his gloves? I know he doesn't wear gloves out there, but do you think he's framing his cleats and stuff like that? Man, I want his entire game worn cleats signed as well. Man, it's not going to take a few strokes of the pen for you to have your 600 touchdown catch ball. Ooh.
Yeah, I don't think it means. Now I bet the 600 TD pass ball meant a little something to him, but I don't think he's like that. I don't think he collects everything for every single thing that he does.
That's my point. So what are they going to do with those items? They're going to go ahead and chop them up and put them on some type of card, or they're going to sell them or something like that. He's not keeping every pair of shoes and every jersey he wears. So that's why I'd be like, this is what I want for this football. Let's go ahead and talk about it. They scored it. I remember the Jeter home run. Maybe it was the A-Rod home run too. They escorted the guy out, and then like they brought him into like the back office or something like that, and they worked out some sort of negotiation. I definitely would not have agreed to something on the spot like this. I would have held the football and been like, yeah, let's talk behind closed doors and I'll tell you what I want.
Yeah, can we just talk after the game? I'd love to talk with Tom after the game. We can discuss that. And I'm sure he would have signed something. He would have given him a jersey or something and said, hey, or a helmet even saying, hey, thanks for holding the 600 ball for me or something like that. Because he's done that before with other players. He signed certain things, with a little bit of meaning, with things that have a little bit of meaning to it. And I think that would have been really good and something even a little bit more special to the fan. Myself, that's what I would have done, but I certainly would have given the ball back to Brady.
Absolutely. Again, I would never have kept that ball either because it means something to Brady. And again, I'm just a fan, a spectator in the stands. I know he's not going to keep his shirt, he won't keep his cleats, and he's not going to keep his helmet from that game. They get new helmets, they get new shirts, new cleats for every damn game. I'd be like, hey, I want those 3 items that you wore today. Put your signature on it. Put something funny on it if you want to. That's what I want. You can have your ball. This is fantastic. I got to meet Tom Brady, TB12. Fantastic day in the park for him.
And Brady did something really special at the end of the game, which
he did.
You do not see players do. I mean, it's real easy to be Tom Brady. I'm going to tell you, it's real easy to be him because it seems like everything, and I know everything has not come so easy to him, but I mean, he could get anything he wants at his fingertips. But what he did for this fan today who had cancer was just so nice, where he certainly did not need to do this.
He's holding up a sign saying, Tom Brady helped me beat brain cancer. And he went over there and he went ahead and gave him some gloves and items like that. I think I'll show you here the clip.
Little boy, so excited. 18 for 100.
Gave him a signed hat, gave him some gloves out there, and said, thanks for coming. Yeah, you're right. Didn't have to do that, but it does. It means a lot to the fans. And again, great guy.
I mean, think about that.
Just taking a second to do it.
Little boy, so excited. 18 for 100.
I mean, you think about something, it means 99. To Tom Brady, it's nothing. You know what I'm saying? Those gloves, that hat, nothing. But the fact, and here's the thing, I've met athletes before, and certain athletes in certain sports are jerks. And football players are jerks. They not all, but a lot are, particularly when they're playing. And, you know, but he made that kid's life. That kid will remember that forever. Forever. He'll remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Good for him. Good for him.
What a film saying, TJ, did you get the hockey fan fight I sent you?
I just want to say one other thing. Mike Evans, I know this is probably going to be sacrilege to Tampa Bay Buccaneers fans. He's got to be the softest football player I've ever seen. I'm sorry. If I'm going in a big moment, I'm never going to Mike Evans. Never. I'll go to Antonio Brown. I'll go to Chris Godwin. I'm never going to Mike Evans. He's just soft. He's Josh Bailey soft.
I don't necessarily agree with that. I don't think he's the toughest player in the world, but he's no Demaryius Thomas. You remember Demaryius Thomas used to be, you know, historically soft. Anytime you roughed him up a little bit, he would automatically go ahead and turtle up.
Yeah, this guy's not much different. He turtles on balls. He alligator arms a lot of balls. Or if it's contested, he won't come back on it. Let the ball get intercepted. Brady, a couple of plays. They even mentioned on the broadcast, you know, O.J. Howard, Mike Evans. These are hot routes, and Brady is looking at Evans, saying this is a hot route, and he still runs the same freaking route, which winds up being an incompletion. He's like, "Come on, Mike." I mean, you know, it's either you're dumb or you're just not paying attention, or you just don't want to take a hit. I don't know, but Antonio Brown, say what you will about him. There's a reason why Brady throws to him and Gronk all the time. There's a reason.
What a film they're saying, TJ, did you get the hockey fan fight I sent you? Yes, I do. I've got that pulled up. Again, who doesn't love a good old hockey fan fight? Who does not love a fan fight? That's for certain. This is right on the front as well, Grumpy. This is on the front row. Ooh,
this is great. Oh! Wait a minute.
Hold on a second. It's not the video is not pulling correct. Give me a second. Let me re-pull it up.
What the heck? What the heck?
Looks like it's in slow. Oh my God.
Jesus. Now, look at this guy. What the hell? You're gonna drag them both off. Drag the girl off choke him out and drag the girl off by her hair.
I've got to replay this because this is not working well.
I don't know where it started, but I know it had to be. I want to see what happened before that. I mean, what the hell? Is that husband? Hey, at least a husband and wife stick together. I got to say that for him, right?
I'll tell you one thing. Let's go ahead and break this one. Here we go. It's Jesus H. Oh man, that is not pulling through well. Is it looking like it's flashing all over God's creation for your video?
It looks like we're already 3/4 into the fight.
Well, that's where we started getting it. I'll try to pull up a better one so it doesn't. It's not as like flashy on that.
What's with the girl throwing punches on the guy?
I don't know, Grumpy. Let's see if I can get another one pulled up here for
If she got knocked out, I have no problem with that. You want to throw punches, honey? Get ready to take some punches back. You want to throw hands? No problem.
Goodness gracious.
Now, TJ, you know, I know that you're usually afraid to fight women, except it's Ronda Rousey, but she would destroy you. Everyone knows that.
Yeah, I know you're trying to make a little cheap quips in order to buy me time. We'll just go on to the next bit. I can go ahead and I can pull that up. John P said, Air. I'll let you pronounce those names. I know Dan Fouts.
Air Coryell. It was Don Coryell was the coach back in the San Diego Chargers from the Wayback Machine, and he was everything came from Sid Gilman, who used to be coach of the Chargers back in the early days of the AFL. Coryell, Bill Walsh, all those guys came from the Sid Gilman coaching tree, and that's where all that passing came from, was from Sid Gilman. Walsh took it to another level by, they named it the West Coast offense, and you saw all the coaches who came from that, Mike Holmgren, etc., all those guys. But that was fun to watch. But, when it came down to crunch time, those Chargers team could never get it done.
Jesus, I'm hoping it's going to pull through us better. Man, oh man, I'll tell you one thing. I don't know what the hell happened to spur this. And again, the video starts about halfway through. I hope it's not. I know it's in 4K, so I think it's giving us. Jesus Christ, this 4K nonsense.
The video looks fine.
It's oversaturated. It's very bright. And on my screen here, okay. Can you not see how it's like moving?
No, I see it.
Okay.
You got the girl and the guy punching this other guy for who knows what reason. You got everybody else wandering away. Oh, there's a little Miss Vasilevsky. She's like, what, Vasilevsky? I mean, look at him kicking at the guy. What the hell? I don't know what this guy did. Look at her. She's choking
at the beginning, she's just throwing haymakers in there, just getting some. Jesus Christ, this video is tough. She's just going ahead and just going to town on him. And I don't know, this guy doesn't look like he's throwing up any fight, and they're just beating the hell out of him.
And everybody's backing away, letting this guy take a beating. Does he not have any front? Here's go, Mr. Bald security guy. Choke him out.
He's not a security guy. He's not the security guy. He's
got both of them. He's got both of them.
He puts them both in a headlock.
Now that guy, the bald guy, he should have laid that woman out. When she's being held, boom. You want to take a shot at me, honey? I'm throwing haymakers at you too.
Well, here's the thing, right? The cops go ahead and escort him out. I mean, for as much punching as it goes on, I mean, this is relatively peaceful. These guys are going to be probably spending some time in the sin bin, and this guy's over here like, what the hell happened? He's got like a smile and a chuckle on his face, like, why the hell was I accosted right there? She's going right up. Goodbye. Oh no, this guy's being arrested, looks like.
Yeah, the guy who got beat up. Like I said, he should have thrown punches at that girl. As soon as that guy's holding him, I'm throwing punches.
I don't know what the hell he did. That's the big
probably
one.
Broke his nose with those punches. I'm like,
I'll tell you one thing. He's got an immediate shiner, an immediate black eye, and he's got a bloody nose.
Look at this. She's got her elbow on his neck. And this guy, here's the thing. As soon as I'm getting up, this guy gets up. He ought to be punching her right in the face. No, screw you, Chief. I'm going and hitting that girl right in the face. And
I don't know what this guy did, Grumpy. Look at how the cop carries this guy away. I think he did a little something too. This guy over here, the guy who was getting beaten the hell out of, I think he did something as well. They both carry him out. I don't know what the hell happened, but they're like almost putting his arm behind his back as they bring him up.
And see that nice.
They're like, here you go, buddy, buckaroo. Come on up here. Yeah, so I don't know what the hell he did. Maybe he was just innocent and got his ass beat. Maybe he was doing something else. I don't know. He's being escorted out.
I would have charged
you get escorted out for getting your ass kicked at the station.
I'm sorry. I'm not letting any woman punch me in the face and get away with it, or her little boyfriend either. I'd do it. I'd wait for him out in the parking lot with a baseball bat. No way. I know TJ. Where was the TJ character? Oh, yeah. That's when everyone's up the stairs. Okay, nothing to see here. I got it all calmed down.
Oh, grumpy. I don't know. That was obviously got a few good punches. I needed some more context.
I want to see more context.
I like the ones where it starts filming a little earlier, so it's like, hey, I can see what's going on beforehand. That was just right into the action, just punching the hell out of him. And there was not too much of a closure out besides both of them getting escorting up. Everybody looked kind of quiet, right? It was an Anomaly Center there for the Lightning. So I mean, it's usually like the library crowd out there. So I
want to say thank you to Alexander. We can always count on him.
No. What a films.
I'm sorry. Thank you, Woody. Thank you. We can always count on certain people for sending us good video. Thank you, Woody. And Alexander always sends us good stuff too. I mean, let's be real.
Yes, absolutely. And then Alexander saying, yep, that's why Tannehill's not a franchise quarterback. He benefits from Derrick Henry, and you're not winning the Super Bowl with Ryan Tannehill or Baker Mayfield. Yeah, I agree.
Probably not. If your defense is good enough, you can win with them as a quarterback.
They're game managers. They're not. If you feel like, hey, I've got to go ahead and walk down the field and drive down the field in the fourth quarter in order to go ahead and put up 5 points. I'm down by 5. I need a touchdown with 2 minutes left. I don't feel comfortable with Baker Mayfield or Ryan Tannehill at quarterback.
How many quarterbacks would you feel comfortable doing that? Maybe 5 in the whole league? Maybe
10.
10. Not me. Maybe 5.
Okay. Would have film said, man, I would have left the stadium with that ball. No way I would have given that back. Not a chance. Talking about that.
I would have given the ball back.
I would have given it back, but I would have made sure I got it. Cause like in the actual post game, they said, oh yeah, they're going to give him another game used ball and they're going to go ahead and give him a signed jersey. Brother, you should have cashed in much more than a signed jersey. Get a signed helmet, get the signed cleats, get the signed jersey, and then get yourself a signed football.
Here's what I would have done if it was me. I would have got a 5-minute segment with Tom Brady on the TJ and the Grumpy Old Man show and a signed helmet. That's what I would have done.
Hey, Tom, we're going to need you to come on for
just 5 minutes. You're a legend on our show. You're just second to the Grumpy Old Man, and we would love that for 5 minutes. 5 minutes of your day, and you'll have a ball, believe me.
Oh, goodness gracious. Alexander said, guys, Kansas City looks lost this season, and if they lose Mahomes for an extended time period, they're done.
I think they're done now. Okay. Again, Patrick Mahomes is a good quarterback. He's really good when his guys are 10, 15 yards wide open running down the field and he has immaculate protection. And, when he's making whatever, $1 million a year, but now he's making 40. So you can't have all those guys. Now his protection isn't as good. Now your receivers aren't as good. Tampa Bay showed how to scheme to beat Patrick Mahomes. 2 safeties high, throw everything underneath. So you're not getting Tyreek Hill on 50-yard pass plays. Everything's in tighter windows now. The balls are getting deflected. We know Patrick Mahomes' mother thinks that those should not be interceptions for her son. They should somehow be credit to someone else. But, he's had a bad year. He's a turnover machine right now. Sorry, you're not Tom Brady. For all the people said he's the greatest of all time, let's give him another. He's going to have to produce at that level for another, 10 years, 15 years?
Again, he struggled just as you hit the nail. I watch every single Kansas City game. It's in the market I'm in, so I get to watch the Chiefs every single week. When the guys aren't wide open and his pockets aren't perfect, his numbers are relatively, they're above average. He's still a really, really good quarterback. But again, He's not a quarterback where you're saying, oh, this is the best quarterback in the league year in, year out. He does have some absolutely fantastic offensive weapons. Your Travis Kelce's, your Tyreek Hills, your Pringles. He's got guys who can get open. Unbelievable speed for those wide receivers too, which creates separation. He's got a fantastic arm, a lot of strength to it. But, hey, if he's not bombing it out and he's not got all the time in the world there in the pocket, you'll see him struggle a little bit. But, again, neither here nor there. Again, if he's out for an extended time period, let's say he's concussed, he missed a game or two more, they're 3-4. Let's say he loses, they lose and they go to 3-5. That could be all they wrote for the end of the season for the Chiefs.
The biggest problem with Kansas City is their defense is abysmal. They lost a lot of guys off that defense because you can't afford to pay everyone. You're paying your quarterback $40 million a year. $45 million a year. You can't do it. And they're finding out. That's why it's so important to be good. If you have a franchise type quarterback on his rookie deal, that's when you have to make hay and go for championships, because when not everybody's like Tom Brady going to take below market deals year after year after year. They're going to get paid. And it means when they're getting the big money, that means you have less to give to everybody else.
Grumpy, you bring that up every single podcast. I think you brought that up 2 or 3 times today.
No, that was the first time I did. Maybe the second time.
John P. Hockey players are the nicest to fans, generally speaking. I do.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. It's not even close. And I think it's because most hockey players are not spoiled or told how great they are from a young age, where they have a sense of entitlement. They don't come from the United States mostly, which I also think that helps. I've never met a miserable hockey player. I will say that.
Sean Avery's. I mean, there are a few.
But I never met Sean Avery. But, you know, the guys that I've met have all been extremely nice, very cordial. But that's not the case with guys who are actively playing. I think when they retire, they mellow a little bit. But in football, not necessarily that case. But it's position groups too. I've met offensive linemen, nice guys, really nice guys. You know, running backs, pretty much nice guys. Wide receivers are all jerks, just about every one of them. Not all, but a lot. I think its position has something to do with it too.
Yeah. Grumpy, you are very long-winded today, man. You're very long-winded. I feel like I'm just reading you questions and you're just answering everything. I'm just sitting here on the sidelines.
Okay.
Master Lego Yoda, I'm just giving you a hard time, Grumpy. Don't take it personally. Master Lego Yoda said, yeah, Mike Evans is Brewster's and Bailey is Carvel.
Okay, I'll go with that.
Also says there, Master Lego Yoda says, I was at the Lightning game, TJ. Do you know when the fight was for Tampa, when they played Florida or Colorado? I mean, that was a recent fight. This was, I'm trying to pull it up.
Colorado was last night.
I was about to say, this was against Colorado. This was 19 hours ago.
Okay.
Man, oh man.
I mean, I don't know. I wish we would have saw some more context. I love the context. That's always good. So,
Alexander, we actually reviewed the fight between Mr. Corona Man. What do you call him? Corona Boy, grumpy old man?
Corona Boy. Yeah,
the
Corona
Seattle
Boy.
Kraken and the Nashville Predators.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Corona Boy. You know, Corona Boy he's getting a cult following now, I heard.
Is that
Yeah.
he's dubbed up, he's changed his Twitter handle to Corona Boy?
Corona Boy.
Oh man. I'll tell you. Yeah, it's something else. Yeah. And then Alexander said, I would have wanted a jersey or football free season tickets in the club section for next season. Okay, so Alexander would have driven a hard ass bargain, is what you're telling me.
I would have gone for a signed helmet, signed ball, and a signed jersey, and 5 minutes on TJ the Grumpy Old Man Show. He would have done it. For the 600. Whatever. Hey, you know what, Tommy boy? I mean, we're big fans. We're going to give you the ball. Just do the right thing. I'm not asking to date your wife. I just want 5 minutes on the show.
Did you like how I think it was, I can't remember who was announcing that. Was it Tony Romo that was announcing that with Jim Nantz?
Yeah.
So Tony Romo said, like, hey, we'll give you anything you want. We'll give you a date with Giselle. He was joking around and everything like that. I was about to say, I tell you one thing. He really could have gotten a lot, I'm sure a lot more than what he did. They just said, hey, a signed jersey. I'm like, oh, Jesus.
That's why they say you don't make decisions in the heat of the moment. You take a little bit of time.
Hey, you know, the funny thing is that every single meetup and every single family gathering, he is always going.
You're so stupid.
Always going to get picked on for that and shit on because he's like, you had his 600 touchdown pass and you went ahead and got a signed jersey and a football. That's it. You could have got that. I'm telling you, he's gonna get picked on for the rest of the time.
Just to show you what the 600 touchdown pass ball means. John Elway is 12th on the all-time NFL list for touchdown passes with 300. Tom Brady has doubled that. Think about how big a number that is. I mean, it's huge. It's huge. He might get 1,000 before he's done.
No, Jesus, man. Oh,
He'll have 700.
Oh, stop. Freaking
Okay.
Stop. I'll tell you. You think he's going to play another 3 years?
I think he's definitely playing next year, and I think he might play beyond that. He's definitely playing next year.
Fair enough. What a film said, yeah, it says that a drink was thrown by the woman and all three were handcuffed and arrested. She should have taken. Hey, here it is again, right? What do we say? There's always a few items that spur these fights. Two men trying to show off who's got more machismo, who's, the more alpha dog, or they're talking about something and they get to the point of no return and nobody's willing to back down. So they just fight each other, or a woman throws a drink on a guy. And this is a situation. The woman looks like she throws a drink on the guy, but her boyfriend kicked the ever living shit out of the guy who had probably the drink thrown on him. Usually it goes the other way around.
Yeah, you know what? Stop taking women to sporting events. It'll save you a lot of problems.
Stop.
They think they're immune to getting beat up. I'm going to throw a drink in a guy's face. They ain't going to do anything to me. I'm a woman. Boom, boom, boom. She should have taken a couple of blows. I bet it'd be the last drink she throws at somebody.
I can't believe she threw a drink at somebody. I have no idea why she threw a drink or why they started, but you could tell the other guy in the gray sweatshirt looks hammered drunk, either hammered drunk or concussed as he's getting escorted up the stairs.
She was kicking him in the face. She had her elbow on his throat. I mean, what the hell was this guy doing? I don't know what he was even. I wish I would have seen what he was doing because, I mean, he just looked like he was like a tackling dummy out there.
Here's the thing. That lady can hold her own. She was, I mean, like, I know her boyfriend was over there holding him down. She was throwing a punch. She was hammering him in the face. Think about it. Her punches gave him a black eye and a bloodied or broken nose. Ooh.
I'm going to tell you what. They live in Tampa. I guarantee you that's Mr. and Mrs. Trailer Park. They raise alligators in the backyard, whatever they do. And there's some scraps going on in a double wide. That's what I'm going to guarantee you. That's what's going on in that house.
No way in hell. They're sitting on the front row. They're sitting in the front row.
Boy, they got those tickets from somebody for a couple of alligators or something. That's what happened. But here's a like security guard goes down there, gets them both in headlocks, and it's like, yeah, okay. I mean, so I guess they weren't too big. I mean, unless that guy was like 7 foot tall. I mean, he looked like he was huge compared to them.
He's probably about 6'3", 6'4", maybe 6'5", and they were probably normal size. So it just looked like a monster of a man, a mountain of a man.
But she should have taken some blows. I mean, all right, she's kicking. I mean, she literally kicked the guy when he was down.
Yeah.
I mean, don't kick a guy when he's down. I mean, she was literally doing that. I think she was doing like she was loading up the boot like the Iron Sheik used to do, and then she was boom. Kicking him right in the chest. And that was it. He was she busted his nose. I mean, then I was surprised she didn't put the camel clutch on him.
Jesus.
Loading up the boot and boom.
Iron Sheik. Alexander also saying, I met a couple of good dudes that play for the Dolphins. Grumpy, I'll let you pronounce those names because I know Joe Rose, but
Rondé Gatson.
Okay, gotcha. Rondé Gatson. I'm a butcher of names. And what a film said, that's a $100,000 football. It's like winning the It's like winning the lottery.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, but you know what? I guess I look at it, it's not my accomplishment. Mike Evans made a mistake giving him the ball.
I know he gives the ball away all the time.
He does. For as soft as he is, that's part of his softness. He's always giving balls to always. I mean,
good. I love when players do that.
Always gives balls to kids. Does a great deal of work in the community. I mean, I'm not ripping him as a person because he's a fantastic person. Just a little soft on the football field. That's all.
You know what? You're going to keep saying that. He's going to be a Hall of Famer, Grumpy.
I can't believe it. I mean, I'm sorry he's not a Hall of Famer. There's other wide receivers.
I promise you, Mike Evans will be in the Hall of Fame.
Okay. Well,
look that down.
He's a good guy. And see, that helps when you go for Hall of Fame votes too. It really does.
Yeah, he's a great guy in the community. He's going to put up fantastic numbers. He's won the Super Bowl ring. So, I mean, that always helps too. And again, he might win another one too. You have no idea. Alexander also said, dude, Joe Thorpe was at the Dolphins game this season. And I was like, why isn't he, in a suite or an expensive seat? What's up with that? I'm shocked he wasn't in a suite or anything like that too. Usually when professional athletes go, I mean, Joe Thornton, it's not like he's breaking the bank or anything like that when he's going to a game. It's not like he can't afford that. That's for certain.
Maybe just a regular guy who wants to hang out with the people. I mean, I'm sure, Dolphin season tickets, I mean, they're pretty easy to get.
Here's the thing too. I don't think he's got to worry about too many Dolphins fans or too many football fans knowing who the hell he is. They just see him like, oh, who's this hipster looking guy with a long beard? Who is this guy? They have no idea who Joe Thornton is, I'd have to imagine.
Well, those Miami Dolphin seats, they're pretty easy to get.
Master Lego Yoda said, Grumpy, who do you think is the softest athlete out there, not counting Bailey?
Ooh, see, I was going to say Mike Evans.
Stop.
He's pretty soft. He's pretty soft.
Who do you have as the softest athlete out there?
It's Josh Bailey.
No, Josh Bailey, not including Josh Bailey, not counting Josh Bailey. Come
on. Gosh, you know what? I'll have to give it some thought. I really will. You caught me off guard with that because when I think soft, I think Josh Bailey. There's a lot of guys who just don't. I think you see in a lot of wide receivers or cornerbacks, they're good laying the lumber, but when it comes to it, they kind of back away. Wide receivers in particular, they don't like getting hit. Whenever I see a guy go over the middle and the ball comes, I'm not going for that one. No.
And then John P said, you guys think the Islanders are going to show up tonight or are they gassed with this back-to-back game?
I don't think they'll be gassed. I just don't think they're talented enough to beat Vegas.
Remember, Vegas is without two top six forwards, and I'm not sure if Alec Martinez is back. So this is a game I expect to be a competitive game. That being said, I think this game means a lot more for Vegas than it does for us. They're starting off the season 1-3. So, I mean, they want to prevent going 1-4.
A point for us is a win tonight. A point for the Islanders is a win tonight.
Alexander let you know Tom Brady's soft.
No.
Says
No,
Lucas
no, no.
Raymond there with a hat trick tonight. Lucas Raymond with a hat trick.
Well, here's the thing. If we had drafted him, he'd be in the minors right now. Wouldn't be playing. Not on this team.
What a film said. Yeah, there seems to be a woman involved in a lot of these fights. Grumpy old man maybe has a point. Also, no ass cracks in this one, so that's a plus. LOL.
Well, here's the thing. We don't – it's just funny how a lot of these fights are started by women, and usually they're men.
There's when they are started by women, they're all the same. They throw a beer on somebody, and it gets the drunk fan enraged, where he's like, "I'm wailing on somebody," or they hit him, or they slap him, or something like that. And boyfriend, usually who's there, has to do. You'll never. I'd be very shocked if we ever see a lady who's not there with her boyfriend throw a beer or punch somebody. Right? She throws a beer on him, says, "All right, here." All right there, Joe Montanants. It's time for you to defend my honor. I've just gotten you drafted into this fight, and I need you to protect my honor and fight this guy who's got the high ground on us, which always is a plus in the fights in the stands, and who looks like he's about 7 inches taller than you and maybe 50 pounds heavier than you. I need you to fight him, and usually doesn't end well for the individual. But hey, for these guys, they took a different approach. They double teamed him, and it did not end well for the guy who was taking abuse.
And it's always the same. It's like, Anakin, you've lost. I have the high ground. And he's like, guy who plays Anakin Skywalker, well, I got to defend my woman. Boom, he goes up there. He gets his arms and legs cut off and is left burning on the side of the rock on the lava planet.
Oh, goodness gracious.
And
just kidding about Brady. Yeah. And then one of the films there said Aaron Rodgers needs to cut his hair. He's just as cool, most annoying player in the NFL.
He's a tool bag.
His hair looks kind of long and greasy looking. Some people pull off long hair and look good with it. I don't know if it's because his face is really skinny. He looks like a rat when he wears.
I like the commercials where he's like a little hipster dude. I gotta say, I like them.
I think he is a little hipster dude.
Yeah, yeah.
Brett W said, "Better hope her boyfriend is it Josh Bailey."
Well, I'm gonna tell you what. There's been a couple where the boyfriend is Josh Bailey, and he takes a beating.
Oh God, yeah. There was the one of the Steelers fans. She slapped the guy with his glasses, and he readjusts his glasses, and that's what's like, holy shit.
I felt so bad.
These two people.
I felt so bad for her husband, and the guy who was, I don't even remember what the guy was wearing. I give them all little names based on how they look, of course. Mr. Corona boy or whoever. And he didn't hit the girl. He pulled back like he was going to hit her, and he laid off. And you know what? He should have just knocked her out. He would have been a villain, of course. But you know what? She deserved it. She's the one who started the whole thing.
Want to show you a few items too, grumpy old man. So now, and I'm not sure if you caught this. Kansas, the Rock, or the
Rock Chalk Jayhawk.
Yeah, the Rock Chalk Jayhawk. They were up 10-0 at halftime against number 2 Oklahoma. And again, very questionable calls in the first half. Oklahoma wound up winning. They sent out this mass email to the entire student body at halftime saying, "We're up 10-0 against the number 2 ranked Oklahoma Sooners. If you haven't used your tickets, come join your fellow students already here. Come support your Kansas football program." That's bad to when we don't have anybody in the stands. We are we're up 10-0 over the Oklahoma Sooners. We need some fan support. We're going to send out a mass email to all the student body in order to try to get them to flood into the game.
Okay, they're 1-5. They were a 40-point underdog, and the game was at 11 o'clock in the morning. So, I mean, I could see where, what's going on Friday nights on campus. Probably a little bit of drinking, probably a little bit of late night carousing. Maybe those people were sleeping in for an 11 o'clock in the morning game. I bet they're not even getting out of bed until 12.
Oh, goodness gracious.
You used to be in that environment, TJ?
I was playing, so I was not hungover, not at the games. So I was actually participating in the games. I want to talk about this one, too. Did you happen to see the 9 overtime game between Illinois and Penn State?
Yes, and I wanted to hate the rule, but I loved it.
I wanted to hate the rule also because of the way it was framed. I was watching the game and I watched since the first overtime and on. So they said, oh, well, after the second overtime, now what we're going to do is we're just going to have all 2-point conversions because we have the intention on having, shorter games. We don't want the overtimes going too long. It's because it's for the safety of the players. I was like, ooh. I hate whenever they try to say it's the safety of the players because in reality, they don't care about the safety of the players at all. Well, this one went 9 overtimes, grumpy old man. And I'll tell you, it was exciting as hell. Those 2-point conversions were unbelievably exciting, grumpy.
Okay, I think the reason why I like this game so much and the 2-point conversion rule is because everybody was struggling to score the whole game. Where if a game had been like 70-70, going into overtime like that, it wouldn't have had as much excitement. Here, it's like you didn't think anyone was going to score because they hadn't really scored all day. And I just felt bad for the for the Illinois quarterback who broke his arm or his wrist or whatever he did. I was rooting for Illinois after that. It was just a shame that he had to break his arm.
Anytime you come down, he's definitely snapped his wrist. He landed on it. And anytime you see a quarterback just coming up and he's holding his hand like this, looking down at it, I'm like, oh, man, I said he has broken that. I hope it's not too severe. I mean, he's going to be out for a significant time. It looked like it was his non-throwing hand, but needless to say, he's going to be out for some time. I will say, I did like the rule change. As much as I did want to hate it, I love the rule change.
I loved it too. And one thing I just want to mention about the Fox broadcast, I don't know if you've noticed the last couple of weeks, they do something really neat, and it comes through on high-def TV, and most everybody has it now, where you see the picture of the player that they're focusing on in as sharpness. Everything else is kind of like a little bit diffused in the background, so it almost looks like a 3D effect. I think it's so neat to see that.
Well, they do that every single time with the 4 o'clock game slot, correct?
Okay. I don't know, but I've noticed it the last few weeks, and I've been meaning to bring your attention. But I'm like, oh, even the warden noticed today when I said, look at this, warden. And she's like, back to jail for you, grumpy old man, but I will look at it. And she did. And she's like, oh, yeah, it looks like a 3D effect. I think it's pretty neat.
One thing I did also like about this game, so every single chance when Penn State won, it would just alternate between, who won or who had the advantage. They say, do you want to go ahead and, play defense first, or do you want to pick the side of, the field that you're going to be playing on? So the media was having to run back and forth because every single time that Illinois had, their advantage, they wanted to go away from the student section. So I thought you'd find this funny about the media and everybody having to run back and forth, up and down the field, grumpy old man, to make sure that they were in position to catch the action.
Yeah, they were running gashes on the sideline. They haven't had to do that probably ever.
I was about to say that's the most exercise they probably have gotten in that.
But they got their steps in, right? If you wear a Fitbit, you got your steps in. That's for certain.
Oh man, yeah, I did.
That guy looks like with the jungle hat, looks like he's ready to cave in there with the camera.
Oh man, yeah. I figured you'd find that one interesting. Master Legate also said here, went to Amalie Arena here Tuesday. It's dead silent unless the puck goes near the net. Nassau Coliseum was so much louder.
It's not a hockey town. It's just not a hockey town. I mean, you got to remember, New York. It's a traditional hockey state, city, town, whatever you want to call it. And the Islanders been there forever and ever. Florida, I mean, there's so many other things to do in Florida in the middle of the winter. I mean, what's the temperature, like 60 degrees? You can still do things outside. It's 20 degrees. I mean, hockey just means more up north. You can play it up north. You can't do it down there unless you get a rink.
Yeah, and again, you'll see the stands being full again because when they're winning, everybody likes to go to the game. But yeah, the atmosphere, I tell you, is something. It's something lacking. It's definitely got some more enthusiasm to be desired. Joe said, "I'm confused." Grumpy says no young players would ever play for Trotz, but aren't Dobson and Wallstrom both 21? And Barzal was playing in 2018 when he was also 21 years old.
Yes, the fact that they won't give young guys a chance, though. Dobson and Wallstrom were their first draft picks, even though I really don't give them credit for those since that's when they came in. And Barzal was just too good to sit down. But he's been benched before, as we know. If he does something that Barry doesn't like, he gets benched. He treats the younger players different. There's a different set of rules for for younger players and how they perform on the ice. And he has a notorious short leash with young players. He said so himself. I just, for me,
something I think that's also worth important noting in here, right? Matt Barzal, when he inherited that team, was just coming off of winning the Calder. I mean, he wasn't going to go ahead and say, you're not going to be playing for us because I don't like young players after you just won the Calder Trophy. Now, that also being said, Oliver Wahlstrom and Noah Dobson, what Grumpy Old Man's talking about, how many times last year were they benched for times, 10 minute spurts because they made a poor play in their defensive zone, made a poor play in transition, and they'd ride the bench when other players do it and they don't. Now, here you do have two younger players playing in Wahlstrom and Dobson, but outside of those, I mean, maybe we might see Salo, but again, he's number 20. He's 24 years old. Our team Trotz likes relying upon the veterans. That is for certain.
Yes. And that's, in the long run, it's not serving your team any good come playoff time. You break the younger kids in, you give them a little bit of a longer leash during the regular season. This way, come playoff time, they're ready to step in as needed.
It's good to have a healthy mix.
Yeah.
It's not good to have a whole bunch of players that are above the age of 35, 30 plus years old. I mean, again,
or a whole team of 20-year-olds either. It doesn't work.
Yep. It's good to have a good mix. You can't have a totally young team, can't have a total team that's devoid of youth. John P. also said, best opposing fan fight I ever saw in person was 1980, an Islanders-Flyers game at Nassau Coliseum, and the players actually stopped to watch.
The Flyer fans are scumbags. I hate the Flyers. I hate their fans. I tell you what, I still remember getting worked up watching the out. I'm like up there throwing punches at the television when I was a younger person. Whenever the Flyers because there'd be a fight every single game, and you just knew it was going to be one of those Philadelphia dogs challenging one of the good Islander, those young lads on the Islander team. And I was up there. I was throwing punches with Gillies, with Nystrom. Anybody who's willing to fight, I was up there like I was fighting with them.
Goodness gracious, Grumpy. Also got a comment here from Wood of Films saying we would have two of the oldest players in the league if you subbed Komarov for Wahlstrom in the playoffs. They're currently the oldest team in the NHL. Grumpy knows what he's talking about, Joe.
That's all right. You know what? Here's the thing. If you think that I'm stupid, don't be afraid to call me out on things. I say things for a reason, and sometimes I go a little over the top, but I don't mind explaining my rationale at any time, honestly.
Yeah, and here's the thing, too. Like, with this team, I do like how we haven't gone ahead. Remember, the rumors were, hey, maybe Oliver Wahlstrom might be sent down. Maybe he might find his way on the bench. That's what you're hearing during preseason. So I'm glad to hear that was not the case. But people were worried about that. I was worried about that a little bit as well. So I'm glad that didn't happen. I'm glad Noah Dobson seems to be, taking his footing in, hey, as a top four defenseman, getting more and more minutes. But outside of that, I mean, maybe, maybe the next person, Salo, is going to be able to step in the lineup that's got some youth to him as well. So hopefully sooner rather than later, he looked good there for Bridgeport. You'd like to hear, again, Salo also getting on the score sheet tonight as well, Grumpy, for the Bridgeport Islanders.
What do you have, a Bailey assist?
No, Robin Salo, Grumpy, did not have a Bailey assist.
Oh, I'm sorry, Robin Salo. I thought you were talking about my friend Casper Holmstrom. I was thinking of bad news.
No. Brett W. said, I hate Philly in general. Eagles fans are horrible too.
It's the whole city of Philadelphia. It's a cesspool.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely is. Alexander also saying, I remember the Palfy days. There was a fan fight between the Islanders fan and Philly fan at the Coliseum. Man, the Flyers dude got his ass whooped. It was bad, blood everywhere, and the guy's lip was hanging down, man. It was bad.
Well, that's the way it is. If you used to go into the Spectrum, wearing the opposing team's jersey, get ready for a fight. Same thing, you go up into the blue seats at Madison Square Garden wearing another team's jersey, get ready for a fight. I mean, that's home. If you go into an opposing team's territory showing your colors, you better be ready to back it up.
Got a funny one I want to show you here from Mike Leach, Grumpy Old Man. They asked him about what his honestly, they asked him about what his favorite type of candy is. Now, I found this little segment quite funny.
Man, he looks bad.
Hey, candy corn. What's your favorite Halloween
candy corn?
I mean, I completely hate candy corn. When I was a kid, well, gummy bears. Let's see, gummy bears for sure.
Sour or regular?
The Haribo. It's got to be the Haribo ones. And then the other thing I like is when they used to have the sprees in a box. Outstanding. You have to go to the dollar store to find it, but I do. And then the latest, there's still candy innovation. Although a while back I found that Europe had better candy than we did overall because they have gummy everything. And then, they have those Nerds clusters, which is new.
The gummy.
Yeah, which is good. The Nerds clusters is good. And then if you go chocolate, probably Almond Joy.
Love it. Hopefully you'll get some of that next week.
Yeah, we'll see.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you.
Okay. I just got a couple of comments on that. Okay. Mike Leach knows his freaking Halloween candy. He's old school candy.
Mike Leach knows some candy, that's for certain. Look at him.
And his team must have won.
Yes,
because
they won 45-9.
Okay, it had to win because there's no way you're coming up with that after a loss. No. So he seemed like he was happy, and it looks like he's still hitting the candy pretty heavy. He looks a little rough from when I used to see him in Texas Tech, and he had some issues wherever he went after that, Washington State or wherever it was. But it's nice to see he's still got a job. He looks like he's a little bloated from drinking too much. I'm not judging. He just looks a little bit different than he used to look. But I love sprees also. I thought they were great. Never a gummies fan, but I did like sprees. And I like candy corn. I was really disappointed that Mike didn't like candy corn. But all that, the man knows his Halloween candy. You can't go wrong with that. Here's the thing. I like him better now.
The reason I brought that up is because he went so in depth on a simple question of what's your favorite candy. And I think about how most college coaches answer that. They say, I like this. I like that. I like this. The man went on for about a minute and a half talking about, well, I like this type of candy. And again, this type of candy is another one I like around Halloween time. And as a kid, I always like this. It's tough to find them. Sometimes you got to go to, I just thought you'd find it funny how in depth he went on with the question of, hey, what's your favorite candy?
I just like how he did a breakdown of the candies. I mean, he gave you an actual breakdown of the candies. Old school sprees in the box for the dollar store. I'm like, hey, he's just a regular guy. I gotta like that.
He's a regular guy.
He's a regular guy. I mean, I'm rooting for Mississippi State now. See what I mean? Doesn't take much to get me to root for your team. Just be regular.
Joe said, any chance you guys stay on tonight and do a live reaction to the game? Not tonight. We will be, I'm sure, doing that here sometime soon. I know we want to get, it was like a few items that we're getting, like, hey, we want to get the shirts out. We want to get the memorabilia out. That's one. Then we've got another item coming up. And I think getting a live game reaction, I think that'd be better on the weekend. So maybe doing like one of those on the live game reaction on a weekend or someday where I've got some time. It's late. I mean, we'll be doing that until, what is it, like 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time then, Grump?
Well, 12:30 at least.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I think we still need to work through some technical issues because sometimes if I'm watching something on TV and TJ's watching streaming, they don't necessarily sync up at the same time. So when I'm screaming at Josh Bailey, or TJ won't even know what happened yet, or vice versa. TJ will say something. I'm like, oh, it's probably Josh Bailey's fault, even though he's not on the ice. So I don't know. I know we have to work through some technical things. We might actually have to do it like a dummy thing without people listening first to see how it comes out.
We are going to do that, though, this season.
Yeah.
That's a guarantee.
Yeah.
And then John P. said, Leach is a shot.
No, Leach is shot.
Oh, Leach is shot.
Yeah, he looks like he's burnout now. He does. I mean, he went through some tough times.
Brett W. said, Grumpy, what's your favorite candy? I'm partial to Swedish Fish.
You know what? Halloween candy, I do like candy corn. I got to say, I don't eat a whole lot of candy, but I like chocolate. Chocolate is good old standby. Swedish Fish, I never had them till like a month ago. My son I was really hungry. There was nothing to eat in the house. The warden got me on a diet. And I said, well, I'm just going to try some of these Swedish Fish. And they were okay, maybe because I was so hungry. I don't know. But they're too easy to eat. You can put handfuls in there at a time. So I got to stay away from the Swedish Fish.
So you're saying candy corn is your favorite candy.
And I like jelly beans, too. Not every flavor, jelly beans. And I love I like white chocolate Easter bunnies. I like that. I like the regular Easter bunnies, and it doesn't matter. The chocolate just seems to taste better because it's in a bunny form. But I do like jelly beans, but none of the fancy ones, just like the cheapy ones, where the grape actually tastes like grape or the lemon actually tastes like lemon. I'm talking about candy lemon, not like, oh, this tastes like the grapefruit or this tastes like an actual lemon. No, the candy, the throwback stuff. I don't like the black. I hate the licorice. Worst one ever, licorice.
God almighty, Mike Leach. Oh my God.
Well, I'm giving you the breakdown like Mike Leach did, right? I don't like the pink ones. Sometimes I can. I don't know what their flavor is. The white ones, if they're pineapple, I can tolerate them. But grape and green and yellow, orange and red, those are my favorites.
Fair enough, Grumpy. Alexander was saying, yep, TJ, Grumpy, what's your favorite candies? Mine is a Reese's bunny. A Reese's, like a 1 pound chocolate bunny. I like the chocolate to peanut butter ratio. This piece of candy right here is fantastic.
Oh, you pull your damn candy up. I got to go into the description with mine.
Grumpy, you listed off about 10 or 12 different items, Grumpy. I couldn't pull. I didn't have my fingers don't type that quick. That's how quickly they came out.
How much is a bag of jelly beans? I know yours is the 1 pound thing. Mine's not a 1 pounder.
I usually eat that after I eat my 6 hot dogs.
When they're advertising that the candy is a pound, that's a lot of candy.
Oh yeah, that's usually one sitting. That's a one helping.
And I like Reese's too. I like the little peanut butter cups though. I don't like where it's all peanut butter. I like some little chocolate in there.
Alexander said you guys should do one for the Panthers game, the Panthers Islanders game. I'll be at it in November. He said he likes Twix and Kit Kats. Also, John P saying, tell Grumpy Old Man the Eastern Mexico University gear is going to be shipping November 8th. Supply chain issues, I guess.
You know what? I think that should be sent on Greyhound bus. They're the Greyhounds.
The Greyhound bus.
Oh.
It is. I get it, Grumpy. I do. Brett W said, ever try the Starburst jelly beans?
Yes. I like regular cheapy jelly beans better.
And then what if buy cigarettes?
The candy cigarettes, those are pretty good. Now, here's the thing, TJ. This is before your time. This when smoking was cool. All the kids, that's what we get for Halloween. They give you little cigarette packs with little candy cigarettes in there, and you could, if you blew it, it had paper around it, and you blew on it, and a little puff of smoke would come out, little candy smoke. That was cool.
Yeah, I know they don't have those. They use all I had the closest to that was just little sugar sticks. So
no, this is the candy cigarette.
Not candy cigarettes. Joe said, Grumpy, will you now admit trading ones for both Pajot and Palmieri were the right moves?
Okay, we traded a 1 and a 2 for Pajot, and we traded a 1 for Palmieri when we probably just could have got one or both for nothing in hindsight.
You're saying wait till the off.
Certainly Palmieri we could have waited till the offseason to get Palmieri. I don't believe when you're an old team, I don't believe in trading around first round draft picks. We didn't win a Stanley Cup. We did not win a cup. If we had won a cup, yes, it was worth it, but we didn't. So I'm still I just don't believe in trading around first round picks. Don't believe it.
Fair enough. John P said, how about the candy dots on the rolls of white paper that we paid for by the foot?
No, because a lot of times you try to peel them off, you get paper on the back. Sometimes the paper would stick.
I was about to say, I want to be eating a lot of paper on those ones. And it's like I like my candy too when I'm eating it. I don't want to have to work too hard to eat my candy.
Okay, here's what TJ would do. He would just take the whole thing with the paper, shove the whole thing in his mouth, chew it up until it's a little paper ball, and then spit it out. That's what he would do.
What I do with sunflower seeds is I put them all in my mouth and I just chew them and swallow them all whole.
You're disgusting. You're like an animal. You're like an animal.
Would have Film said before your time, TJ, but they were called tasty candy cigarettes, a sign of the times.
I can think about when I was a kid, secondhand smoke. Well, I had more than my share. Everybody on my mother's side of the family, we go over, my grandfather's house, and he had, 7 brothers and sisters, and everybody smoked. It was like a fog was in the house. I mean, most of them died of lung cancer, unfortunately. You understand why now. But I mean, I just always remember, that was like it back then. Oh, everybody's smoking. They'd sit there, they'd play cards all night and smoke cigarettes. I mean, it was fun.
Alexander said, in Union, my old neighbor, the ice cream truck used to always come around, and I got candy cigs as well. The big chew kind, the big league chew.
You know what Big League Chew is?
Yeah, it's supposed to be like chewing tobacco, but it's gum. So
Yeah, that's right. He had like a big pouch. You tear it open. It was like in the shape, like strings of gum. You jam a whole bunch of that, whole face all filled up with the gum. Good stuff. Not anymore. Now they want to legislate how you can eat candy too.
Joe also said here, candy corn over many Snickers or peanut butter or peanut M&Ms. No way. Grumpy, did you hit your head? I'm not a fan of the peanut M&Ms. Snickers, okay. If I'm picking a bar that I like the 100-gram bar, and I like myself a Three Musketeers. I'm getting freaking hungry. I haven't eaten dinner tonight, and I'm starting to talk about all this candy. I'm starting to salivate.
I like regular peanut butter. I like regular M&Ms. I love the mini. The mini Snickers are good too. For candy bar, I like those. I've got a liking for those later in life. But I heard candy corn from Mike Leach, and I'm hooked on candy corn. But not peanut butter. I didn't like the peanut M&Ms. I never liked the peanut M&Ms. Or same thing with Almond Joys. I didn't like to have the nuts. Almond Joys got nuts. Mounds don't, because sometimes you feel like a nut. Sometimes you don't.
Alexander said, so TJ, you mentioned again about the hot dogs. We're going to see you on the 4th of July, Nathan's hot dog eating contest. No time soon. John P said a bit of honey and Mary Jane. Clark Avenue bars.
No, nobody liked those, John. No one liked those. Those were always the last things left for Halloween with the Mary Janes. The bit of honeys. Yeah, no. Here's the thing. You got to remember too, most kids back then, because not everyone had fluoride in the water, a lot of fillings. And if you chewed on those things too late, pull your fillings out. That happened to me once.
What a film said, oh my God, Bailey just scored, Grumpy. Yep, Josh Bailey just scored, Grump.
Oh, it's because we don't have the game on. That's why he scored.
That's why he's playing well. There you go, Grumpy. Brett W. also said Hershey bars, plain, and M&M are my favorite chocolates. Ooh. Man, I'm getting hungry. We got to stop. We're stopping talking about food. I'm getting way too hungry. I haven't eaten dinner. We got a few items still to talk about. Grumpy, World Series is intact. Grumpy old man. We're going to have the Atlanta Braves against the Houston Astros. Who do you have taking the World Series, Grumpy? I'm
rooting for Atlanta, but I think Houston's going to win.
And this is, you know what? I've got the same exact thing. I'm gonna disagree with you, Grumpy. I'm picking Atlanta in 5.
Wow. Okay. I'm rooting for that. That's what I'm rooting for. I don't think it's going to happen, but that's what I'm rooting for.
Fair enough, Grumpy. John P also said, "LOL, I lost my fair share of feelings." Grumpy, maybe you want to not turn the game on, huh?
I just wanted to make sure I had my channel activated so I could set up my DVR. That's all.
Terrific. Let's see if we get your attention, Grumpy. John P said, "LOL, lost my fair share of feelings."
Yeah, that's the way it was back in the olden days. Now the kids, they get little sealants painted on their teeth. I don't even know if kids even get cavities anymore. I don't know. My kids never had them.
Gotcha, Grumpy. Gotcha.
Not when they lived in my house, anyway.
Andrew or Alexander also said there, "Oh God, the Cheaters versus the Craves." I wasn't sure if those were candies that I just didn't know.
I don't know.
Fair enough. Wanted to show and bring this up here for you too, Grumpy. Did you happen to see that there happened to be a little scuffle between Anthony Davis and Dwight Howard? So this was, and again, they said obviously there's no issues or anything like that. I just want you to watch what happened on the bench. And the Lakers have not looked great to start the season here so far. Just want you to watch this little exchange.
Anthony puts his hands on him, and that seems to actually Dwight Howard.
So he was pointing down to Dwight Howard, and he's talking down to him like that. Dwight Howard didn't like it, so he gets up on his face, and Anthony Davis pushed him back into the chair and pushed him down.
Well, I don't think he got up in his face. He just kind of stood up, which is automatically in his face. Now, I think that Dwight Howard is still pissed off that he wasn't on the top 75 players for 75 years in the NBA. I know he was upset about that.
I know he was as well. I'll also say there apparently, he's the cheaters in the Craves talking about the Astros.
Oh, I got you. Yeah. Well, I'm rooting for the Braves. I would like to see the Braves win.
Go Braves, beat the Astros.
I mean,
Oh,
their manager is a baseball lifer.
here we go. There, we got Joe saying Josh Bailey's mom will be joining us shortly. There,
Yeah,
at
well,
Josh
I'm
Bailey's
sure.
Virtual Golf.
Defending her son, just like Patrick Mahomes' mother does.
I tell you, I'm honestly kind of shocked by that. That her mom, his mom, his mom. Hey, if it hits off of somebody else's hands and it's intercepted, we need to call that something else.
It shouldn't be an interception on my son.
Oh, Jesus.
Boy. Okay.
I tell you, it's something else. I wanted to talk a little bit about there's some NHL news too, Grumpy Old Man, I wanted to mention. So first off, I want to get your take on the Toronto Maple Leafs. They struggled, got absolutely waxed by the Pittsburgh Penguins. Now, do you think the Maple Leafs are going to be struggling? Again, it's in Toronto, so the media always is, very in depth with what's going on there. They're, very flamboyant. That being said, Grumpy, I want to ask, if you're a Toronto Maple Leafs fan, are you worried with how they started off the season?
What's their record? Do you know offhand?
2-2-1.
2-2-1. I think they're going to make the playoffs. I don't know why they felt the need to give Sheldon Keefe a 3-year contract extension.
They're two wins, 3 losses, 1 overtime loss.
Okay. You can't be happy with it. You need to be better. The fact you're getting beat 7-1 is a problem still. I'll need to, I'll do more in-depth research on them when the Islanders get ready to play them. I don't think they did anything to really improve their defense. Their goaltending, like I said, Jack Campbell's their starting goaltender. He sucks. So, you're going nowhere with him as a goalie. I don't understand. I don't understand.
Chase H saying, effing Josh Bailey.
Good. I'm glad he scored.
Effing Josh Bailey, Grumpy Old.
Was it a clean shot? I don't know.
I couldn't tell you. I wasn't watching, and I'll have to watch later there. Wanted to mention and talk about some soccer news, Grumpy Old Man. We're going to talk about some soccer news here coming up in a second. Did want to show you, I thought you might find this a little interesting. This is somebody's first goal. I'm not sure whose goal this is, or this is a rookie scored their first goal. Wanted to show you how they scored a Grumpy Old Man because I think you'll find this entertaining.
Oh. Yes, I did see that.
I'll have to put it in slow-mo. I'll have to put it in slow-mo here for you.
Yeah.
So number 21 loses his stick, and Gibson kind of get tied up there a little bit with him. So he's bending down to pick up his stick. The puck hits off of his skate and dribbles into the net between the 5-hole, and he doesn't even know, I guess it technically counts as a shot, but was not cognizant of what happened until, hey, it's in the back of the net. Holy crap, did he just score my first NHL goal?
I think he's scored other NHL goals before. And I think he does well against the Ducks.
What a way to score
your first NHL goal. Okay. Because I did see that, and I thought they said that he always does well against the Ducks. What do I know? All I know is the only thing that would have been better is if the puck would have hit him off the butt and went in. I think that would have been a little bit better.
I thought you'd find that interesting. I want to also talk about Manchester United, Grumpy Old Man. Played and faced off against Liverpool today. Lost 5-0 at Old Trafford. Holy crap, Grumpy Old Man. Want to get your take on where you think things are there for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. How long of a shelf life do you think he has? Yeah, I mean, they've struggled mightily. This was one of the worst losses that Manchester United has ever seen. Especially at home. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer after the game said, I've come too far. We've come too far as a group. We are close. We're too close to give up now, he said. We're at rock bottom. We cannot feel any worse than this.
Okay. He's delusional. Do you remember what I said at the beginning of the year? Do you remember what I said going way back when they signed Ronaldo? What did I say?
This guy's a fool.
This guy's not a good coach. It was the worst loss to Liverpool in 95 years. This is their arch enemy, their biggest rival, and they got rolled today, and they looked horrible doing it. The coach has to go. He has to go.
Want to also show you this here too, because I think this is a nice little tidbit. You think? I think he'll be gone tomorrow. I think tomorrow morning he'll be officially out. And then
He's delusional, though. He's delusional.
And I thought this is a good tweet for those fans who are kind of on the board. There are some fans that are still supporting Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, saying, trust the process. Hell no, do not trust that process.
That's his mom and his wife. That's only.
Manchester United with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer are like Chelsea with Frank Lampard, a top squad with a manager not even close to being up to it. Chelsea showed what is possible when you get a genuine quality manager. Do you think a change of manager, like adding in a Zidane, could take this team into a 180 and make them into a competitor?
They'll be better than they are now. I don't think that the squad is good enough. Defensively, they're horrible. Harry Maguire, Luke Shaw, they were directly responsible for 4 of the goals today. They're just terrible. Their midfield is a disaster. Their defensive midfield. I mean, no. I'm gonna stick by, no matter what. The best they are is maybe, now I'm gonna say maybe, qualifying for Champions League next year. And people keep on forgetting, Cristiano Ronaldo has kind of spackled over all the cracks by late game winners so far this year. Like 4 or 5 games, whenever they've won, it's been because he scored a late goal or a game winner to win or tie the game. And if he's not doing that, they're a shambles. That team's a shambles.
They're in shambles, Grumpy. What do you mean by they're a shambles? Do you mean to say they're a shambles? Is that a saying, or they're in shambles? You always say they're a shambles. I'm just not sure if that's the. I'm not sure.
Is that what you want to play? What do you want to play, Mr. English teacher now? Is that what you want?
You always say they're a shambles. I don't know, Grumpy.
The team's in a state of shambolic state. How about that?
They're in a shambolic state. Fair enough, Grumpy. I like that one. What a film said, hell, my parents would be smoking while we were running around the station wagon without seatbelts. Those were the days. Atlanta looks really good for the World Series.
We had a station wagon too, a powder blue station wagon, Oldsmobile, and we never sat in the seats. The only thing the seatbelts were good for was jamming in the seats, and we would be in the back of the station wagon fighting, scrapping in the back seat with the window open in the back. Hey, we all lived. Nobody fell out of the car. Good old days.
Absolutely, grumpy old man. Absolutely. Islanders up 1-0, 3 shots on goal. For us, Vegas has 7. Sorokin playing well. Fair enough.
That's how we're going to win, right?
Absolutely.
3 shots on goal. Josh Bailey has 1 of them. That's astounding in itself.
Grumpy, let me ask you here. We're at the end of today's podcast. What else do you have to say before we wrap things up?
I just want to say love and laughter to everyone who listens, even though who don't. And also, thank you to everyone who comments in. You all really make the show.
For certain that you do. Thank you again for all the participation, guys, there on the podcast and the live stream. We always love interacting with you guys, talking sports and shooting shit. It makes a lot of fun. It makes a fun and enjoyable Sunday evening for us. Thank you again, as always, as well, grumpy old man. You should say, my pleasure.
My pleasure.
I don't know. I was going to say something else afterwards, like, we'll see you this Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you again, grumpy old man.
9 o'clock-ish.
9 o'clock-ish. Thanks again, Grumpy.